Happy New Year. I
Happy
fooled
New
you.
Year.
Did it again. Classic. Welcome back, everyone, to a new year of Predator versus movies. I'm Alex.
Woo!
I'm Peter.
I'm Aiden.
And this is a podcast where we discuss and review the latest movie releases. We're going to start off... Oh, this is a lie. I'm reading the same process as usual. We're not reviewing a movie this year. We are reviewing a year.
This year. We did
year.
review movies this year. Today,
we will review movies later this year, but today
Right.
we will be reviewing a year.
Yes.
A year in review. This is what this is. We're going to look back at 2023, and we're going to do a draft. We did this last year, if you're a long-time listener. So basically what is going to happen is we are going to go through the movies of the year and pick one for each of us for a list of categories that we've come up with, so that we can end up talking basically about 18 movies from the year 2023. We should mention back from holiday break.
We are.
A very restful, busy, crazy winter break. Lots of movies, lots of catch up, and it's good to be back, huh?
Very good to be back.
Good to be back.
Predator versus movies.
You can
That's
just
the name of the show.
hear the excitement rolling off of our tongues. It's palpable. Anyways, Peter, you were asking us a question before we started about how many movies.
Yeah, how many movies have you guys seen this year? For me, I'm sitting at 32 for 2023. Exclusively the movies that came out in 2023.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm sitting at 45, but as I was saying before, I don't think that's accurate. I think there's like two more than that I just forgot to log. But that's what my list says.
Yeah. I've seen 59 from this year, not counting Waitress the Musical, the movie, because I think that's a glorified recording.
Sure.
So I didn't count that one, but that would make it 60. So yeah, we've seen a different amount of movies between us, but I'd say a good amount. I think, Peter, you've seen a good selection. You did a lot of catch up in the past couple days.
32 is a lot of movies. That's
yeah.
Dude, if you think
about
it, that's almost 10 days.
It's more than bi-weekly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 10 days. Peter, do you want to just recap some of... I have no idea what you're talking about. Peter, do you want to just recap some of the movies you saw this week?
Oh, this
week?
week.
Because Peter's been grinding.
Dude, it's been a trip.
Tell us about the grind.
Dude, I'm not kidding. Last night, it was literally going to... so basically, the city I'm living at right now, we have two local indie cinemas right next to each other. So basically, it's going into one of them to watch Poor Things, coming out, having the fastest dinner possible, and then heading to the other one across the street to watch Godzilla. So
that's crazy. Is it one, when you say a theater, when they're across the street, is it one theater, like the Cinematech, where it's one screen, and then the other side of the street is another one screen?
No, actually, the one across the street is the older one, the OG indie cinema of the city. That one only has one screen, and it's their speaker setup. It looks so old, but was so good for Godzilla for no reason. I have no idea why. So the sound effect was very good actually, and then the other one, which is a newer one, has I think 3 screens, two or three.
That's nice.
But they are run by the same company, so it's all under the same umbrella.
That's a pretty sick setup. Which movies did you end up seeing this week? Because you had a marathon, basically.
Guys, it's been a crazy week. Okay, so we started off the week with Blackberry on the Plane. Okay, great plane movie, not gonna lie. And then we continue with Humanist Vampire Seeking Consenting.
I haven't seen that one.
Suicidal Person. God damn, this title is so long. And then afterwards, I have to go on my letterbox because I'm forgetting. I also watched The Lobster on the plane as well to prep me for Poor Things, because directed by the same person. And then Anatomy of the Fall, and then yesterday was Poor Things and Godzilla back to back. So
yeah, it was
nice.
You did
Yeah.
planned like a really intense one that Aiden and I were like, what the hell? I can watch all those.
Dude, I basically missed like the latter half of December, like that whole
Right.
release season. I just
Well,
missed
I
all of
missed a
that.
bunch of December ones too. It was hard. It was stacked and busy, and all, you know.
Speaking of December, did anyone other than me see May December?
I did. No,
You
I
saw it
didn't
because
see
we were gonna do a pod on it, and then
Yes.
yes, one of the many movies we saw this year. Speaking of movies we saw this year, we are gonna do a draft.
We
Wow,
sure
look at me go.
are. Pew 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 pew. Spoilers.
There may be some spoilers involved in this draft. So, yes, so the draft, this is how it works. We have 6 categories. First is, there's no order, in no particular order. Blockbuster, international, comedy, drama, horror/thriller for the Peters out there. Also, we had a lot of thrillers this year, so
there are
it
a
felt
lot of
necessary to combine that. And then wild card, which can be anything. Now for Blockbuster, the bar for entry is going to be, I think, how do I say that number? I struggled with this. 100 million. I struggled with that last year.
You said 100,000 last year,
100,000,
which is
crazy.
not much. That's not very much.
So it's 100 million, and that's domestic. 100 million domestic, which includes this year, I think 23 films.
Okay.
So I had the list, so I might as well ramble it off. The blockbusters for this year include Barbie, Super Mario Brothers, Spider-Verse, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Oppenheimer, Little Mermaid, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, John Wick 4, The Sound of Freedom. That one's going to get taken
Really?
real quick. Yes.
Yeah, we're sniping for that one.
The Eras Tour, which I think, I guess is allowed on the table. I'm
Sure.
There's not very
I
many
don't,
things that
I don't
I'll
know
say
if any of us are gonna snatch that one up anyway.
Peter
So,
might. I'm looking at Peter. Maybe.
You never know.
You never know. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1, although it sounds like that will be Part 1 of a not Part 2.
Yeah, they're not titling the second one Part 2
so funny.
for marketing, I think.
Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, Transformers, Rise of the Beasts, Creed 3, Elemental, Fast X, Five Nights at Freddy's, Wonka, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem. There's a lot of subtitles this year. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Scream 6, Lost in New York.
Oh,
That's not what it's called.
yeah. That's what that is.
The Flash and Trolls band together or something. I don't have that
Okay.
one in front of me. Yeah. I'm surprised how many of those subtitles I remembered. I didn't have it written down for me.
Dude,
so
not
those
gonna
are,
lie,
those are
so
the
many
s-
bad movies made so much money this year.
Yeah, I
Holy
know. I was
shit.
looking at that list, like, so many of those were garbage. Like,
Yes.
really, like, multiple of those are. 3 of those are my bottom 3, I think. If I
They're
heard
so
right.
awful. Yeah. So yeah, that's. I think we're kind of like nature is healing back to
Yeah.
the sick and twisted swamp that it was before the pandemic. It's gone back to bad.
No, I think it's just good movies did not make enough money this year. I think it's not. I think
Maybe.
bad movies
I
always
actually-
made money. You know.
I actually see this as a hopeful thing of, like, sure, like, they made money, but, like, I think a lot of those didn't make as much as they wanted to. And I think I see it as a nature is healing moment of these really shitty, bloated movies are kind of dying a little
Yeah,
bit.
and,
I see it as a positive thing.
I'm
Cross
pretty
my
sure
fingers.
like Disney lost a shit ton of money on Quantumania.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, like let's remember that Captain Marvel didn't even make that list. That's crazy
Yeah.
that a Marvel
Yeah.
movie did not make the list. And I'm
Yeah.
trying to think. Yeah, that's the third of 3. I think there's only 3 this year. For
And what else is crazy is I saw this literally today. Aquaman has passed 300 million.
Let's go.
should it be on the list?
Yeah.
Let's
Or
go.
that might have been. Was that for like international?
Oh,
Oh,
right.
no.
Oh,
look
you're
at
talking
that.
about domestic. Yeah,
that's
I'm
'cause
not sure.
James
It's
Wan is
probably
sick, dude.
worldwide.
Where is 1 second. Total gross. What am I even looking at right now? One second.
Just complete silence.
Well, because I was looking at. I found Aquaman, and I see. I think it's counting. Okay, so Box Office Mojo, at least for right now, like it might just not be updated
Yeah.
for the weekend, which is an
Right.
issue just based on when we're recording. But it does say 76 million for domestic, and then total gross is 100 million.
Wait,
So
are you
just-
sure? Are we looking at the same
I'm
film?
looking
'Cause
Guys,
I'm
I
seeing,
don't think are any of us gonna pick it.
That's the other thing. Is like
I'm seeing 100 mil domestic and a 234 international. Also box office with Mojo.
okay, fine. I don't care that much.
Let's
It's
get to the bottom of this.
Aquaman, for all those Aqua heads out there, Aquaman
Right.
is now available to be selected. It's I would say it's now in the pool for selection.
The infinity pool.
Yeah.
The infinity pool. Wow. We'll just try
anyone
and
picking that?
as many
Yeah.
movie puns as we can.
I can spoil it now. I will not be picking that.
Okay,
But,
so
we'll
I'm gonna
discuss.
click the wheel. We have a wheel.
Yes.
And this will decide who will go first. We're gonna do a snake order, which means whoever's selected third gets to go twice. So
Yes.
it'll go A, B, C, C, and then we go reverse order: C, B, A, B, C, and everyone A and C get to go twice.
Everyone's so
and that's-
confused right now.
That just
It's
makes
okay.
it fair. It'll make sense eventually.
It's A B C C B A A B C C B A.
C,
It's
B,
like
A.
this.
Yeah, that's not that complex. So I'm spinning the wheel. I'm spinning the wheel. Who will be first? And lo and behold, it looks like it will be Peter. Peter
Oh
has
shit!
the
Oh my
first
god!
draft pick.
I can take away a pick right now.
That is
Well,
true,
let's-
but let me
let's
finish,
determine
let
who's
me
second
finish
first.
the order.
That
Yeah.
is true. That is
Um,
true.
Okay, it's Alex and Aiden. Who gets the next slot? And it looks like it's Aiden. Aiden will be going second. Well, see, the thing is, B gets to go second, but A and C get the double pick.
Yes,
so
that's true.
There's pluses and minuses.
But
it does
the thing
mean
is,
my
I
tops
only
might be taken.
there's like one or two I want to snipe from you, and then all of the other ones,
Great.
like I'm fine with doing like whatever. You know what I mean?
So aggressive. There's two I want to snipe from you.
No, I'm just saying like
Yeah,
I
no,
think
I get you.
like what I was saying earlier is like there's like 3 movies I could put in each category that I'd be super happy with. There's just
Yeah.
like 1 or 2 that I know we both loved that I want on mine.
This will be tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
This will be
Okay.
tough, yeah.
Well, it's up to the fates and to you boys now. So let's
All right,
kick
Peter.
it off. Peter, what is your first draft pick?
Okay, I'm debating between comedy and international. I feel like
Okay.
international is super competitive, like between us 3.
I have like 3 that are in my top 5 that are all
Yeah,
international.
I do
that I
have
could do.
like a decent amount of international in my top 5 as well. I'm gonna go. You know what? Let's start off funny. Let's do comedy.
Start off funny.
My
Okay.
pick for the top comedy film of the year is Asteroid City.
Okay.
Now, I've always loved Wes Anderson, and I've just seen Poor Things, which, not gonna lie, I was initially very confused of people labeling it as a comedy film, but after seeing it, I was like, it is hilarious. But I think I just really appreciate Asteroid City as a whole a little more than Poor Things if we compare them like 1-to-1.
Sure.
I think I've always loved Wes Anderson's style, and I love that he's kept up his style throughout the movies. And this sort of like, and his brand of humor is just so, it's like naive in a sense, but also like so funny that just like works on me every time. So yeah, Asteroid City is my pick, and I love it, and I'm looking forward to Wes Anderson's next film. It's a fantastic movie.
Yeah, that was a movie that I loved as well, though it is not my top comedy pick. That was probably going to be my second comedy pick. So
I don't think I
I'm
sniped
scared.
anyone. If anyone, I sniped Alex's, but I felt like
Yeah.
Alex will have a different pick.
So that's one I had on. I had given 5 stars. Peter reminded me, I think, before we started.
Yeah.
I remember really, really liking it at the time. My memory is starting to fail me, and I think I would want to return to that. I only saw it
Sure.
the one time, so. But from my recollection, it was just a really quaint, like postcard-esque kind of movie. It was definitely my top movie of the year for like a month or maybe, like until I think Oppenheimer topped it. But
Yeah.
there was nothing at that point in the year that I had seen that had like truly wowed me. So that was
Yeah.
that was a really, really great movie for this year. One of my favorite Wes Andersons, I think. Just really liked how it was like breaking the barrier between like the artifice of it. So like there's the fictional story, and then kind of getting at a very meta like filmmaking, asking all these sort of questions, and not so many answers, which I found interesting.
And
So,
relating
yeah,
it
that's
to
a good
like
movie.
storytelling in general and like
Yeah.
viewing one's life as a story that doesn't seem to lay out quite the way that like a movie would. And I think there's some really great writing in it as well. Like just I mean
Mhm.
like it's been brought up a million times, but the scene where he's like I don't know what's gonna happen in the play. I'm butchering it, but I don't know what's gonna happen in the play and just keep telling it or whatever. Or like the moment with Margot Robbie. Like it's yeah, a really great movie.
Why does Augie burn his hand on the quickie griddle? And we don't know. And there's
Yeah.
kind of like the unknownness of like humanity. It's just part of being human is we're irrational. So yeah, that's a really solid pick, Peter. That
Yeah.
does mean Aiden, you are going next.
So, Oppenheimer is what I'm gonna pick. Where I'm gonna put it is the question.
Alex.
Like that was the one where I was like, I need to snipe this because my number one
Yeah.
you guys aren't gonna pick. I don't think you guys have seen my number one. This is my number two, and I want to put it. So, I do think that. Just looking at, it's got to be Blockbuster. It's got to be Blockbuster. That's my Blockbuster pick because
That's
I can.
what I
There,
was gonna put.
there are other dramas I can put that. Yeah, it's got to be Blockbuster. Yeah, I can talk a little bit about this film though. Yeah, no, this is like, it's really interesting for me to go into this movie because I really dislike Tenet. Like I strongly like that movie put a really bad taste in my mouth, and just like, but just the thunderous urgency of Oppenheimer, which like it just refuses to stop. It just barrels and barrels and barrels ahead. It's like it's incredible film form, just like on a level of just appreciating how a film looks and its aesthetic, but also like how meaningful everything is, like down to like the most minute decisions. Like the acting is all top notch. The editing is all very precise. Like the pace of it means so much. The cuts mean so much. It's so affecting. Like just and little things like the cutaway to the black hand drowning Gene or whatever. Like, and what does that mean? Is that his own complicity? Is it his own guilt? Did that actually happen? And like, yeah. I mean, the subjectivity of it. Like, I think it was such a brilliant decision to put it from Oppenheimer's perspective. And to model, again, like I've talked about the editing a lot, but to model the editing of the film based off of that and to do it so well and so precisely. And like, this is a movie that I think I said this on the pod earlier, where it's like I was kind of crying in like the first 10 minutes of it, which is like a weird thing to say. Like, this is not like necessarily like a crying movie, but like just, and it was just him like looking, it's like the opening. It's just him like looking at the ground and seeing the drops and him being like tormented by like this unceasing quest he has, and you understand him so quickly, and I was so hooked immediately, and you follow him, and it's not until the Trinity test where you're brought into his world, and it's like, fuck, like I've like, you haven't considered this. Like there's been a coming dread because you know what nukes have become for the world, you know, like what it is, but like it's not until that moment where it's just like, oh my god, and it's devastating. Yeah, this is like probably tied realistically for my number one film of the year. I loved this movie.
Yeah, Oppenheimer, I would say the movie of 2023. Obviously, that's a subjective thing, but like, that's it. That's the movie.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, box office success. It had the whole Barbenheimer movement behind it, and then also just like in terms of experience, like literally like nothing topped it. I was just like blown away in my seat. I've like never seen anything like it, I guess. And I never thought I'd say anything like this about a Nolan film. Like,
No,
I'm
neither did I.
not a Nolan head at all.
And the funny thing is, it doesn't feel like a departure from his filmography at all. It feels very in line with what he's doing, but also very like reinvigorated and refreshing.
Yeah, and you know, like demythologizing like the important man myth. Like like it's clear from the movie that like so much of his like how the Trinity test and like the Manhattan Project developed was off the backs of others, and he is not like that important in the grand scheme of things, but he has this self-importance.
He believes it, yeah.
Right? Like it's just
yeah.
like it's great.
Who is the president? I'm blanking. But when the president points that out to him, like
Yeah.
it's always great when a character who is an awful person says something that's unequivocally true, like, and you just great move.
It's Truman played by Gary Oldman.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just phenomenal movie, and like the cast is crazy. I saw that one twice. That was movie of the year. So yeah, that was the one you had to snipe for me, and I'll pay you back. Don't worry, I'll snipe one.
I don't know if you can. I don't know if there is a one.
There's one, but like I'm not sure if
there's one I'm thinking of that is high, but I know you loved and I loved it too, but I don't think I love it as much as you.
Okay.
Dude, there's no way.
It might be a more or less civil rest.
Yeah, I think it will be.
Yeah. Peter, do you have anything to say about Oppenheimer?
Honestly, dude, like my opinion.
Honestly, it kind of sucked.
No. Okay. Relax. I love Nolan, and like I think if anything, I find it very interesting even when he does like these more. Less like these are basically non-fictional films. Like even though it's sort of like a subjective take on a period in history, this and Dunkirk were both like non-fictional. And I think his ability to depict war and also really just like, and especially in Oppenheimer, where especially we don't see any of like what's going on like in World War II at all. Like you're literally viewing war from afar, and the ability of his ability to depict the impact of war even on the home front is very, very powerful. And like his ability to do it in like an actual battlefield setting in Dunkirk was very impressive, and he sort of replicated here of like the pressure on these scientists. And like my favorite part of the movie still remains to be Act 3, which a lot of people don't like, but I find it so intriguing that such a like his history has built up Oppenheimer to be this like great man, you know, like a guy who like contributed so much to World War II and might be one of the reasons why the war was able to brought to a close so quickly, but able to sort of do this sort of partly objective, partly subjective examination of him in Act 3 was so interesting, and also just a brand new perspective that I think most of us had no idea that was going on in America at the time, like the whole debate between how nuclear power should be regulated, what should we do with nuclear power at the height with Cold War coming up as well. So very, very good. Now I do prefer science fiction Nolan, but you know I love this movie as well. It's not my top Nolan film, but I love this one as well. My top Nolan film is actually Dunkirk, not a science fiction film. But
I've actually not seen that one.
Yeah, Dunkirk is very, very excellent.
Yeah. Do you guys think? I have a question for you. Do you think best picture chances for this one?
I think it will win. That is my prediction.
Yeah, that's the same for me.
I think it might win best director. Might not be best picture though. Because
I don't know what else would
it's
win
so
best picture.
competitive this year.
It is competitive. There's one other one that has a good chance, and it's not Barbie.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it would be. Is it the one that you are about to pick? Probably.
No. There's one that I wouldn't pick because I didn't love it.
Oh, I know
But
you're
I
talking.
think
Okay, I know you're talking
if it gets
about
picked, picked, then that might be. Maybe we'll talk about it then. Okay, so it's my turn. My first pick is gonna have to be strategic, just because now that Oppie's off the board.
Dude, I'm predicting Anatomy, bro. I think it's an Anatomy.
That's
pick.
also what I think is picked.
I have two picks. So first will be my strategic pick. So first I'm gonna go with Blockbuster, and I'm actually gonna pick Spider-Verse.
What? No fucking way! Dude, you can't do this to me, man.
I know, I just did.
Dude, it's my top movie of the year, buddy.
Do you want to know my second choice?
God.
Oh, I don't know.
Yo, what am I gonna do now? Fuck.
You have like 20 blockbusters to choose from. It's a wide category.
I need to pull up the list.
Okay,
Shit.
well I'll
ruined
talk
my
while
plan,
you do.
Alex.
I'll talk while I do that. Great, glad. You should have known. Like I figured if I wasn't first, Oppenheimer would be taken. So I knew that I needed a strong second for this category, and Spider-Verse was the strong second.
Unbelievable.
So this is like, where was it ranking on? It's the third biggest blockbuster of the year, just after Super Mario Bros. But like a really great follow-up to the 2018 original film. It's just really great. I just like the animation. They're just still doing crazy stuff. I'm just casting my mind back to like the watercolors they did. It was just in terms of look and style, it was leaps and bounds ahead of the first one, which is already leaps and bounds ahead of everything else. Like they're just like continuously like improving upon the craft there. They really slowed down the story on this one, which I had some problems with. It did feel a lot like a two-parter movie, but I mean, to be fair, like they're trying to they're saying it's kind of like Empire Strikes Back, which in a way you could, I guess, say it's a part one movie.
Yeah.
I disagree on that front, but I see how that could be true, and nonetheless, it is still a very exciting film, asking very interesting questions about destiny and fate, and carving one's own path of like a Spider-Man story that's never been told before and is not going through the same cliche stuff. It's just like crazy. It's full of innovation, and just a really great time and a great blockbuster.
It is part of the list of movies this year that are all kind of like, there are a lot of movies that were like kind of about like narrative itself, and that was really interesting, and this was one of them. This is a movie that I actually rewatched this recently because my dad was watching it. It was like on the TV. I wasn't like glued to it, like I was coming in and out, but I watched it, and I kind of like everything you said that is positive about it, I definitely agree, but I do still have the same like writing problems, because it's on one hand I think the script is really brilliant, but I also think like the way the story is slowed down I'm just not a huge fan of, and I think that also like the Spot as a character isn't handled quite perfectly. I don't think I think like it was something that struck me upon the rewatch, is that it's strange to me that their first interaction, like the Spot's whole thing quickly becomes about, oh, Spider-Man, you did this to me, whatever, but their first interaction is just happenstance. Like, it feels weird that, like, that's what kicks it off, and then there are a few things that are similar to that where, like, I don't, like, quite buy that the character feels that way just because of certain things that happen, but yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with this. Like, the story could have been stronger, and I think part of that is just constant rewrites. It's kind of it's loosely has similar problems with the Marvel MCU side of things, which is just, like, having to pump things out so quickly that just like crunch time for in this case animators, but in the MCU case CGI workers, and also like the script process of both films, like it's just because it's so rushed, not everything is maybe finished to perfection before the next step starts. I will say for the Spot though, I do remember what I loved about the Spot was that like it starts out as happenstance and then it like becomes something more meaningful because they have these similarities, and it's Miles Morales feels like he's not being taken seriously, and the Spot feels like he's not being taken seriously by Miles, and so then they become kind of intertwined, and there's this like fate element aspect to it, and they're the same character, and so that's why I thought the Spot was like very interesting, and also like a unique pick, like a character no one had ever heard of. So I think it's a stronger pick for sure, at least than Kingpin in the first one, which
for sure.
That one was a little random.
I agree, but I will say I think what you're saying is the more interesting version of it, but I think they weave in the idea that Spider-Man is the reason he's become that, and that's why it's weird. If it had actually, because it's not happenstance from the beginning, but they treat it like it is, and like that's what's weird to me, and then it tumbles into something bigger, but he already had this motivation before the movie started, which is kind of like, that's what's bizarre about it to me. And I get why they would do that, because it's an archetype that this hero created the villain, right? Like I get why they're doing it, but I think they could have lost that one.
No, I know what you're saying. Like, I think the escalation is a little weird. Where like initially he was just robbing an ATM, just trying to get by. He's like, oh, I can't get a job right now, not while looking like this.
Yeah.
But then like the escalation of like, okay, you call me villain of the week, I will prove to you I'm more than just villain of the week.
If that's
like
what
that escalation can
yeah.
definitely be handled better for sure. But
if it was just that without the other backstory, I think that's better.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
But Peter, I have so much to say about this movie.
Well, you were gonna pick it, clearly.
It is my favorite movie of the year. It is
really? I didn't know that.
It is my favorite movie of the year. It's ranked number 1 for my 2023. It's like the only movie of this year. Did I? Okay, hold on. Let me check. I'm pretty sure it's the only film this year I gave 5 stars. No, I gave Godzilla 5 stars as well.
Spoilers.
Really loved it. I think it's just like, it's one of the few moments like ever where I was hype about a movie going in. Like I was like, I know this movie's gonna be good the movie delivers and goes above and beyond, and then I'm just like left in shock when the movie's over. Like the entire viewing experience plus the movie itself is just so like 5 out of 5 everywhere that it's like I feel like it's like one of these rare moments. Doom Part 2 might do it again, but you know, it's like I have not experienced something like this in a very long time, and the originality of the Spider-Man story like takes this so over the top for me. We've seen like so many Spider-Man stories played out on screen, but this one is so unique, so unprecedented but it's also so Spider-Man that I just appreciate it so much. The originality both comes from the writing and also the art form, where it's already sort of like a pretty significant shift compared to the typical Pixar style animation, and then they take it to such a height in this movie where, you know, it's different art styles for different Spider-Man, different soundtrack for different Spider-Man. The art styles telling as much of the story as the characters and their dialogues. It's just so many cool things working together, and in such a sort of a more of a niche medium in like I guess like animated movies have like such a niche market, not in terms of box office, but just like in terms of audience. But like this one really sort of pushed it to a mainstream where typically a niche animated film would not garner this much noise and just this dialogue, but this one definitely did. So it's just like so many things that it's done so well, all packed into one package. I think it definitely has its faults, you know, being part one of the two-part movies, you know, having like a lot of characters to deal with and giving character enough spotlight in between. I think it did a decent enough balance. It definitely could be better though, but it is my favorite movie of the year. I love this so much, and I can't wait for part 3. By the way, they have not started recording dialogue for part 3, so it's definitely not coming out this year.
No, there's no way.
Yeah, there were some optimistic predictions for when that would come out, and
I think it's 2026, bro. Just take the time, honestly.
Not without like killing your staff, but yeah. So that was my first of 2 picks in a row. The second one is going to be for international. I'm taking Anatomy of a Fall.
Right.
Let's go.
This was the one you thought I would take.
D'une chute. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
is that the other one that you thought I was gonna try to snipe?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I did like that movie. Is 4 on my list, so it is like I did love that movie a lot.
I remember you saying you didn't love it quite as much as I did. So yeah, we actually watched this one together. This was for a brief time my favorite movie of the year. I did switch it to Oppenheimer after ruminating on it some more. But
Sure.
So it's a French film. I think it won Palme d'Or.
The Palme d'Or, it did.
Yeah. Won a little French award. It won't be international, up for international feature at the Oscars, just because it wasn't selected, but there might be some stuff behind it. But anyway, so it's got a lot of accolades, but it doesn't say anything about what I like about it. And to talk about that, there was a lot.
There's a lot.
The direction, first of all, is just so interesting. Like I don't even know. Just unique choices constantly, all the time. The story was really interesting. I like how it's like looking at like really like dissecting a marriage and looking at like if these people like don't like each other, or if maybe they're both not good people, does that mean one is guilty of like murder, right? And there's also like the gender aspect to it. Like I saw some gender things. The French court is just so entertaining and weird. There's like the recreation of like different things. Kind of, it shows how like silly this all is. Like they're trying to prove someone did something by like throwing a dummy off a roof, and it's like how actually scientific is that? And also like the mixed media-ness of the movie, like looking at photographs and like police officer, like what do you call them, like chest cameras or badge
body cams. Yeah. Thank
you, body cams. Like audio recordings. They're really just going through all the different types of mediums, and it's just like trying to find out like what even is truth, and but at the end of the day, does that even matter, right? Like the whole ending is like the kid gets to decide, like, not so much does he think his mom is guilty of it or not, like, does he want his mom in his life, is kind of what it comes down to. And there's a lot of like questions about, like, I don't think some of the things that are said in this film are true. Like, I'm not saying I necessarily think that Sandra Hüller's character did it, but like the way they get out of the court unscathed, I think there's some lying involved there, and it's just so interesting, and yeah, such a great character study of Sandra Hüller, I'll say as well. The character.
I do remember, like, one of the other things I love talking about, building off what you're saying about, like, it calling to question truth. I like how it also, like, invited you to question your own biases. Like, I remember that was something that I was really enthralled with. I don't remember the specifics enough, but it was particularly in the flashback scenes when we get into that, and, yeah, and when they're dissecting the case in court, like, why, like, how are you leaning? Like, you have to reflect on how are you leaning in this, and why am I feeling this way? And yeah, I think it was another movie about narrative. That was an interesting one as well. Yeah.
So I didn't get a chance to be on the pod for this one, and I watched it very recently. I have a lot to say. So I think first of all, what this movie, I think what encapsulated so much about this movie was, I remember very early on in the movie when Sandra Hüller's character was talking to the lawyer Vincent, she was literally telling him, this is I think like a day after the incident, she said, I think he just fall. Like, they were standing on the attic and they were looking at the at the window, etc. And then Laura said, but no one's gonna believe that. So like, what I think that just underscores the entire movie. Like, it's like you're trying to, like, in order for the court to give you a favorable decision, sometimes telling the truth is not enough. And I think this happens so much throughout the movie, where the court is supposed to be a point of evidence-based thinking, objectivity. But so much of both the defense and also the prosecutor have done is pull in subjective things to paint a picture over objective evidence. It's as much as about telling a good story, painting a narrative that makes sense, as, you know, telling the objective truth. And sometimes telling the objective truth won't even get you there, which I think is so cool about this entire movie, where you're supposedly in an environment where evidence and objectivity should always win, but in this case, so much of it, you know, they're pulling in evidence from the books. Even they're pulling evidence. They're painting a picture of the the husband's conversation with the shrink. You know, they're like, so much of it is like, you think these are people who are supposed to look at the full picture, understand the context, then make a decision. But so much of it is them just, it's almost like debate in high school, in a sense, where you're trying to pull in any evidence possible, whether it's like no matter what it is, and paint a picture that it's favoring your side, no matter what it is. So you're really just trying to fit it into a box that's you know, that is like, this evidence supports me. And I have a quick comment of the male and female gaze as well, which I think features quite a bit in this movie, where especially when they were talking about the infidelity, the cheatings, it's very, like, there was a study done where guys are oftentimes less okay with being cheated on physically versus being cheated on emotionally. So I think, like, the big difference, like, we could really tell when when they were talking about their cheating, that Sandra Hüller might not think, like, because she thought she did not cheat on her husband emotionally, that it doesn't matter as much. But her husband was actually quite hurt because he got cheated on physically. So I thought, like, this movie was, like, just so good at examining so many different complex themes, and also presenting it in such a neatly packaged film, that it's so good. And like, just to wrap it up, I think this is basically Marriage Story on steroids. Like, Marriage Story, like, give us sort of like a divorce drama type thing, but like this one is like pushed to the max. So
yeah.
It was a great time. It's definitely not an enjoyable watch. I personally did not enjoy watching the movie. Like, I just felt so stressed the entire time. Sure. But it's an excellent film.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed the experience. My eyes were glued to the screen, and I was just like, "This is awesome. I love French court." Yeah, yeah. Which isn't about public, like it's the court of public opinion. That's the real court, isn't it? But yeah, let's move on. I believe Aiden, the ball is in your court once again. What do you
Yeah, I think I'll pick international. I think I'll pick international next, because the thing is, we're at a point where I think a lot of the rest of my picks are ones that I'm fairly confident you guys won't pick, but I just want to think of like, where do I have like the most movies? This is hard because like, I can really go either way here. It just depends on like, if I pick this, then I have to put a different thing in a different thing, and if I do that, then I have to do this. You know what I mean?
Hey, Aiden, I can always go first.
No, dude, no, we can't do that. Okay, so if I do that, then that means that has to be that, and that's safe.
Yes.
So, but if I do, right, that's safe. So I suppose that's the play. Okay, international. I will go Poor Things.
Okay, yeah.
Fair?
Yes. I thought maybe that's what you're looking at.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
I like this movie a lot.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So yeah, Emma Stone is incredible in this film. This is a standout performance of this year for me. Like this is really, if it weren't for like Lily Gladstone, really is the only other like best like lead actress role I can think of where it's like that definitely should win. But if it weren't for that, Emma Stone would be my pick for it. Yeah, this film I think is really incredible. I think its strength is its bluntness, and like on a certain level it seems to, like what I was thinking for part of the movie is that this seems to lack some subtlety. Like it's a little bit like, it's very like in your face about like what it's about, but I think that's actually a strength of it, in that putting things so plainly emphasizes how absurd and strange life is. And I think that really that's what this film is about. It's just life is very strange and infinitely interesting. And I like just to like the point being, by putting things so plainly and by having Emma Stone's character perceive things and put them in terms that are easily relatable to our lives, we understand that this fantastical, surreal world is like really quite similar to our own. Like it's really not that different, even though like the way it's dressed up is a little bit different, but we dress up everything ourselves anyway. I think like there's really interesting like religious overtones in this as well. I mean, obviously Willem Dafoe's character is God. That's literally his name. And so it's this devotion to, it's like a secular religion, and this idea, like that idea of like what that means for how you understand the world and gaining evidence, like in painting that like that philosophy and how she encounters people who obviously don't feel that way, and just like, yeah, no, it's, and I mean I haven't talked about the visual style as well, but like, I mean it's not things that Yorgos hasn't done before necessarily, but like it's just incredible. Like a lot of the movie is about perspective as well, and so I think it's really awesome that it's, by switching from these extremely wide lenses to these very tight telephoto lenses, usually like within a single cut, and also like these weird like pinhole shots, like in whatever, like it's like inviting you to see the world from a different perspective and understand that the way you see the world is just one way to see it. And I like that's the way I felt about it. And by the end of this movie, especially when the scenes between Bella and Godwin towards the end, I was very, very moved by it. And this is one of my favorite movies of the year. And also just so much fun. Like that's the other thing, just so much fun to watch.
Yeah, very fun movie. Very funny movie. Like really hilarious stuff. I loved. I think my favorite bit from the movie was when like everyone's talking in like their Victorian kind of like way of speaking, and it's all like very fancy and proper, and there's this idea of like properness kind of emanating throughout the film, and then they'll just get so flustered that they just like drop it and they just start talking normal, and they swear, and they say the F word, like it's so I love that. And yeah, like maybe career best performances, or at least like top of their career, like Emma Stone, Mark Ruffalo, probably Willem Dafoe as well. Like everyone's just like top of their game, and I think everyone's just having so much fun. Like the actors are having so much fun. Yorgos is like pulling out all the stops. Like you said, the camera work is just like it's crazy, and at times I was like maybe it's too crazy, but I think what you're saying is right. Like it's a distancing effect. It's like saying like this is a fantastical world. Like pay attention to that. Like don't get sucked into it. Look at it from a distance and compare and contrast, like you said. I think the satire is really it's interesting. Maybe not the most insightful thing, but like I don't think there was ever going to be that, and I don't think that's the aim. You know, like I've seen some people say similar things about Barbie too. Like some people just need the intro to feminism stuff. Like,
well, it's
not
also
everything's going to be advanced.
For me, like if you're interested in feminist literature, go read some. Like go read feminist theory. Like I don't know, like why are you turning to the Barbie movie for that? And so like for me, it's not even about need. It's just about like what is this movie trying to do? And I see Poor Things as being about like life in general. Obviously, trying to weave in feminist themes as well. I'm not denying that, but I just think like dropping a textbook in the movie wouldn't necessarily. Not that it needs to do that either, but I just don't know if that would make it stronger either. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. Peter, did you end up catching this one? I think you said it was part of your marathon yesterday.
Yes, this one I saw yesterday, and honestly, it's like so much funnier than I thought. Like Mark Ruffalo and Emma Stone together, it's just like somehow. Okay, not gonna lie, was it just me or was Mark Ruffalo's accent like terrible in the movie?
He kind of lost it a little bit.
Sort
I
of?
did know.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty bad.
But it was
I don't know.
so funny and on brand for the movie. Like
I know
it's
very funny. It's
like
very
they
funny.
keep
I'm not
they're slipping
that.
out of the Victorian talk.
Yeah.
Like they might as well be slipping in and out of accents too. Like that's just
Yeah. But I think Yogo's his strength, at least like for me, who's only seen The Lobster and now Poor Things. I think one of his greatest strengths, even though this is sort of an adapted work, is that he's able to sort of put interesting characters in an interesting space and just let them, let them sort of interact with each other. Like in The Lobster, it's just like with these characters in that setting, something interesting or thoughtful is bound to happen, and that's exactly what happened. And so I just think he's so good at creating these spaces where drama and also cinema is bound to take place, which happened again here at Poor Things, which is a sort of a child in a grown woman's body that is forced to grow up and learn the way of the world in the most ridiculous way possible, but that somehow exposes so much of our current thinking or beliefs, traditions, etc. I believe I saw an interview where Willem Dafoe or Mark Ruffalo said this movie is about sort of exposing the amount of oppression and also repression that everyone in the society is doing. The whole concept of a polite society and what is expected, the whole concept of what a woman should do in a society, what is expected, and then the concept of being a wife, being a husband, being a father, etc. Is all being questioned and examined in the same movie in the most hilarious and ridiculous way possible. Is just it's almost when I think dark comedy, somehow Parasite came to my mind as the first movie. It's almost like a Parasite dark comedy-esque movie. But honestly, just overall, that so interesting character work on top of really great design and setting of the world, so much of it. One shot that really struck me was when they were visiting Alexandria. It's literally the hotel and then broken staircase and then the slums. That is just that the shock was just it's right there. Everything you need to know about this place is conveyed in just one scene, one picture. It's very great.
Yeah, that scene is a great example of what I was talking about as well, where it's on one hand you could look at it and be oh, okay, I get it. The fanciful, opulent hotel is above the slave workers who have to do this and that. And it's I get it. Obviously, it's a very clear metaphor there. But again, I think that's a strength of it actually, is that the realization of no, those two things are actually that close in real life as well. And by putting it that plainly, you have to confront it.
And cruise ships. like how we just like travel around in this opulent floating vessel that's pumping this green billowing smoke, and we're gonna visit these places that are built off the backs of like intense poverty, where there's just like and I think it's the extremity thing, like just like a pile of dead babies.
Yeah.
Like that's what makes it work, is it's just to the extreme. Rock the mic like a vandal, light up the stage and wax a chump like a candle. We're gonna move on.
I have one more thing
Size
to say.
baby.
Just one quick thing.
Last thing.
And also, like, the other thing I thought was so great is how, like, again, like, we've talked so much about, like, this year, there's sort of, like, a theme about destiny and, like, defining your own narrative. Like, I think this is another great example of that. How
so
Emma Stone's character, Bella, was, you know, initially, like, wanted to explore what her old life was like, but then immediately found out that, like, so much of the things that she enjoyed as a baby, the person, Victoria, who's the body, enjoyed as well. Like when she was growing up, when Bella was growing up, initially she enjoyed brutality, she enjoyed violence, she enjoyed smashing things, she enjoyed, like, she indulges in things being broken, like witnessing violence, but then
she's testing the limits.
I know, but that is what's shocking about it is these are the exact things that Victoria as a person enjoyed as well. She enjoyed playing cruel pranks on people, she enjoyed, like, you know, and like that's what's so interesting about, like, them framing, like, the whole brain sort of swapping experiment as he, like, when they were talking about the general, he needs an improvement as well. They think of it as an improvement. It's almost like another case where, can you define your own narrative? Like, in this case, it's the baby's brain in Victoria's body able to define the narrative for Bella, you know. And I think, like, this movie sort of touched on that as well. So I just want to quickly mention that.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Peter, you get to talk some more. You've got 2 picks coming up. 2 picks in a row.
All right. My pick. So, because of Alex's, you know, absolute betrayal, how dare you, Alex?
How dare you?
I'm now left without a blockbuster pick. But I am actually going to go pick my horror pick first.
Okay.
Interesting. I have a clear winner for this. It's one of the very few horror movies I enjoyed, and it's Scream 6. I think it's a really fun movie. You know, I've, like, never been a person who enjoys horror or, like, the slasher genre in general, but, like, the way that it's able to leverage the New York setting, and, you know, there's so many interesting set pieces, and, like, a genuine, like, a pretty interesting through line as well of the main characters, all put together, made this a fantastic movie, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. No, I agree. This movie was super, super fun. I had a lot of... I liked Scream 5, and I thought that this was, like, much better in, like, most ways. Thought it was a tight plot that moved along at a good pace. Thought the performances were all fun. I thought there were some fun kills. I remember having, like, some problems with... I'm still not sold on, like, the no one can die sort of thing. Like, it's kind of... Again, like, particularly, like, I know it may be a little repetitive to kill off a legacy character, but it feels like Gale should die where she does. Like, that just feels like that one in particular stands out to me. I thought this movie was a lot of fun. It does, just to be clear, it sucks that Scream 7 sounds like it's not happening.
Probably not.
Yeah.
That is unfortunate. For me, I agree. Scream 6 was everything I liked about Scream 5, but much better.
Yeah.
The New York setting is just so interesting. Like, this is one of 2, I think, Scream movies that don't take place in the main kind of town.
Yeah, 3 is in Hollywood or something.
Is in Hollywood, yeah. And I think this does a much better job, a more interesting job for me. Like, the claustrophobia of a big city, which seems incongruous, but it actually isn't. Yeah. And it's like dirty and like grimy and you know, we're in the subway and it's the bodega, like all these interesting locations. I had a great time. That was the first Scream movie I'd seen in theaters after doing a marathon, and very rewarding experience. So solid pick. Peter, you do have a second pick.
Okay, so this is my strategic pick. I felt like Scream might be strategic as well, because I know Aiden's probably not going to pick that, but no. Alex might. But
my horror pick is safe. You guys have not seen
I think your horror pick is pretty safe. I'm going to do international. This is purely strategic. Okay. I will pick The Big Lizard for international.
I didn't know what that was.
Sorry, the name is in fact not The Big Lizard. It's Godzilla -1. So I sort of went into it with like very little expectation. I've never been like a Godzilla fan. I don't know what's happening with my camera. I've never been like a Godzilla fan. I don't think I've seen any Godzilla film, to be honest. Like I don't even. I've seen like the only MonsterVerse movie I've seen is King Kong, the Kong Skull Island. Yeah, the monkey movie. But I thought like the setting is great. You know, like they picked the post-war Japan, and also I learned yesterday that the whole point of the title being -1 is because it's the lowest point of recent Japanese history. So that's why it's called -1. And there were so many great moments where it's sort of like the whole movie is about this such a like fantastical threat, but like somehow you can connect so many links back to the war and also like what happened in World War II in general, and also like so much of it is about the impact of war on civilians, which I thought like it's very very good that the movie had a very good showcase of that. And I think it's really interesting how the eventual task force that defeated Godzilla happened to all be civilians at the time, not the Japanese Navy, not the American Navy. You know, they're actually not actively serving people at the end. And this movie might have like a little bit of emotional and manipulation, because I cried twice watching this movie.
Oh, yeah.
I have no idea why, but like the movie, the music was hitting, and also the scene was just hitting, and like I cried twice. Once was when they grouped up with the at the emergency response HQ of like the general and the doctor going over the plan, and no one was signing up, and then eventually they said, you know, if we're not gonna do it, who's gonna do it? And that scene I cried. And then lastly it was when like Tojibama, like the engineer, the mechanic that showed up and like started repairing the plane. That scene I cried. Like overall it's just like emotionally it was a ride, and also visually it's a treat, and also like just like all the themes it's able to tie together. It's just like objectively a good film, so really enjoyed that one. My pick for international.
Yeah, I completely understand that. I think it was a very affecting story. Like I was surprised. I was not expecting it to be about like life versus duty, and talking about post-war anxieties and nationalism, and you know, like I really realistically don't have enough historical context of post-war Japan to really in a smart way like talk about it. But I did think it was just a very like well threaded story that was genuinely affecting, and the action is great. Like the scene where Godzilla essentially does like a nuclear blast is like it's crazy. Like that's so yeah, great movie.
Yeah, I just because of like where it was playing, I had to see it in IMAX, and for that scene I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like I was like the gust of wind, I felt it, and I was in the back of the theater. No, that was a very interesting movie. The Godzilla bits are like 10 out of 10, like the best ever.
Yeah.
The human bits are more developed than usual, but incredibly melodramatic, which did kind of.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which did kind of like make my opinion a little more negative, just because it's like, why, like screaming
It's
at
so fun.
the heavens, and it's quite. Well, you know, you buy into it. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, this is what it is. We're
Yeah.
gonna be a little corny, and you're just like, okay, fine. But yeah, like great. It's just a very like rousing, exciting, fun little romp. So I think that makes 2 for Peter in this selection.
Yes.
So then it's back to Aiden.
I just picked
I'm
comedy.
scared. I'm
So
scared. That's all I'll say.
You're
I'm so
scared.
excited. What's your
See,
pick gonna
I
be?
don't know why you're scared, because I.
Oh, then, well, if you're not gonna scare me, then don't scare me.
Thing is, I don't know, but now I'm thinking like, because I'm
I
looking at
shouldn't
my
have
list. I'm looking at my list, and
should
I'm looking at
not
the
have said that.
highest. I'm looking at the highest rated thing that can be construed as a comedy. And then my next highest is one that I know you love, but it's.
Oh, okay. So if you have pick the one that I don't love. That
Yeah.
won't scare me.
Well, I don't. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I actually think I messed up in that I think I should have put Poor Things as my comedy, and then I should have put my horror pick in a different thing, and then freed up my horror slot because I have multiple picks. Yeah. Whatever.
I agree.
I should have done
agree.
that instead.
You should have
But
done that.
I am gonna go May December for comedy.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm safe.
wait, that's a comedy?
Yeah, it's quite
technically, yes.
funny. Yeah, like
Oh
It's like
shit!
like that's like very like satirical, dry kind of like,
melodrama comedy.
they're playing it straight. You're laughing at them. Like that's how it
Okay.
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
What's yeah?
That's
it's also,
wild.
Yeah, this movie reminds me of Tar a lot. Like this this
Yeah.
feels like this year's Tar, which is I think Tar's better, but I really like this movie. Like I liked this movie a lot. I think it's like it's super well directed. It's a clever script. It has the same Tar ending, which is so. Have you seen it, Peter? I don't want to spoil.
I know the premise. I don't know.
Okay, you don't know the ending then. I won't say anything more about it.
It does have the Tar ending.
It does have the Tar ending.
Yeah.
But yeah, which is hilarious. That's
Wait,
so
does she go
funny.
to China and start
No,
teaching?
no,
No. We won't say
yeah.
any. We won't say more. Say less.
Okay.
yeah, no, but like great again, a year of great performances, great performances in this film. Like just, I mean, like clear, like just a really good movie about exploitation and character and like cycles of abuse. And I think that like Charles Melton in particular, like that. Just an insane performance. He's the one who's playing the guy, the man. Like for those who don't know, it's about for those who don't know, it's about guy got into a relationship with his teacher when he was 13. They're still together. Yeah, he's the guy, and that is a teenager. Like you're looking, like the way he is walking, the way he is talking, like you are looking at a teenager when he's like crying and he doesn't know how to do it. Like it's like, oh my god, like it's just brutal. When he's talking to his son and he's smoking weed with his son and his son has to be the father in this situation,
No
like
way,
more or
that's
less, and it's like but it's not quite that as well. Like it's just the dynamics are like so well locked in, like it's so precise in like how these characters are and how they would interact with each other. It's just airtight, and then also very funny, which I didn't expect, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a movie that I definitely need to return to. I think it's dense, and I think I've only kind of like scratched the surface.
Similar to
like-
Tar in that way. Where
Yeah.
yeah.
Tar. I mean, Tar is Tar. You know, like
Yeah.
we're gonna be talking about
Tar
Tar
is Tar.
forever. So, but for this one, like you said, the scenes with Charles Melton are just so heartbreaking. Like, because he, like you said, he's slowly peeling away these layers to reveal. It's like Natalie Portman's character is like picking at like an old scab, and she's peeling away the layers, and like until like she's being like a really awful person.
Yeah.
But also like kind of like pointing out like the very obvious
Yeah.
truth that like just what has happened to Charles Melton's character, which is both horrible and like relieving, and kind of like giving him an opportunity to like actually live a real life.
Yeah.
And yet on the other hand, like she's like an idiot. Like
Yeah.
she's not actually, she's like going through like the process, quote unquote, but like nothing is like, she's doing all this, and for what?
Yeah. For
you
what?
know?
Yeah.
That's the Tar ending. And yeah, and then also just like there's a last minute thing that I was kind of like, wait, what? And so that's why I want to rewatch it with what's her name, the main
Julianne Moore.
girl. Yeah, Julianne Moore's character is like, there's like a last minute like psych on Natalie Portman's character, and it's like there's two people, like Natalie Portman is studying her to play the character, but like it seems like Julianne Moore is also playing this character. She's playing herself, and it's like, I don't know who she actually is, and that's the whole thing. And it's true crime. That's a scary movie that I need to.
It is a
funny
scary,
movie
it's a freaky
that
movie.
I need to watch again. Yeah, that's a solid pick. That's a good movie from this year.
So I thought you were gonna pick, before you go, I thought you were gonna pick Theater Camp, but are you picking Holdovers?
No. So you're right. So for comedy, I am gonna pick Theater Camp.
Okay, that's my second comedy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because this is the thing. I didn't think of May December as a comedy, but you're right. It is.
Right.
So Theater Camp, yes, that's my third favorite movie of the year. So I think I got 2 out of 3. So that's pretty good. I didn't get Oppie, but I got those 2. Theater Camp was just a pure delight. I know you guys didn't like love this one to the same degree, so I thought it was pretty safe
in my
to
memory,
leave
this
it
is a
back.
movie that's like grown as much as well.
Yeah.
Like, recalling this movie, I've really come to like it more too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude, it's my
that's-
6th best of the year.
It's solid.
It's ranked 6th.
It's awesome.
It's not
it's like I think it was a feature debut. It was a collaborative effort. It speaks to me personally, just from like formerly being in that kind of world, but like just as like a movie and as a comedy, so solid. The mockumentary, like filmography is really awesome, super funny, really like entry level stuff. Like so, like although I'm getting the niche references, I feel like you guys enjoyed it a lot too.
And I think the niche references are set up in such a way that it's like I get it, like like more or less I get it, yeah.
And they're just like I could think of so many moments that I saw this movie 3 times.
Oh, yeah.
I love this movie. It's so good. And just like everyone's being a goof. Who's the main guy?
Ben Platt?
No, the
Jimmy
guy
Tatro?
from Yeah,
so he's
funny.
great.
So
He's so funny.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is another movie that's like very, very funny, also very heartfelt. Like I like that it's making fun of these people, but in like a very compassionate way. Like it clearly has so much love for what this is, but it's like this is also very silly, and I think it nailed it tonally, and yeah, it's a great film.
Peter.
I mean, I have no additional comments. You guys said it all. I think it's just, it's like an ode to this sort of like, I don't know, like theater camp is, I feel like a dying thing. Is it?
I
don't know. Like I don't know if like sleepaway camps like that happen quite so much, but like the idea of like theater is still well and alive as far as I know.
But it's just like I love human movies and human stories, and it's exactly that. Sorry, I guess every movie is a human movie.
Well, I was gonna say there's the lizard movies, and like I don't know, it seems like you like the lizard movies a lot too.
Well, hey, there are a lot of humans in the lizard movie too.
This is true. Okay, well, I guess I'll move over to my other pick. I think this is the only other category that maybe would have some like contention in it, maybe. And I think I think I'll go with the way I've ranked my list.
Sure.
So I'm gonna pick The Holdovers, like Aiden just said, for drama.
I wasn't gonna pick that.
Okay, so
I looked at my list and it's shockingly low. Like I don't know why. I must have put it there by mistake because I have it lower than Mithrigan right now, which I didn't mean to do. Mithrigan's awesome though. Like make no mistake, that movie's awesome. But whatever. Yeah.
Came out
also,
this
guys,
year, about this time.
I made a mistake. I did not watch The Holdovers. I did not watch The Holdovers, so no spoilers. And I'm looking forward to watching that one.
Okay, Holdovers. This is like an ode to like the classic 70s film. There's a particular filmmaker it emulates, but I don't really know who that is, so I won't say that. But Paul Giamatti is just like tour de force performance. Just like I feel like he's great in everything he's in. Maybe not Amazing Spider-Man 2, but maybe he's good in it. But
I don't know if any version of that would have been good though.
Who did he play in the Amazing?
He was the Rhino at the very end.
Wait, no,
and the very beginning. Yeah.
And he had like tattoos around.
Yeah.
He didn't show up in
That's
No
a
Way
wild
Home.
cast.
That's the L. That's the real L. I should have brought him back. Anyways, he's great. The new kid is great. Like that's his debut role.
Yeah.
Just really like sweet and like super melancholy Christmas film that's like uplifting, and like it's a classic story, and they just do it very, very well. I don't know if I have much more to say than that. Made me kind of sad for the rest of the day.
Yeah, no, this was a great movie. I had some problems with it, but I think none of them is a kind of movie where even though like the problems I have didn't tarnish my experience of it. Like it was just like, I prefer not that, but overall like this was just so like this was great. Yeah. So honestly, like it's really beautiful too. I love the aesthetic of it. It's really well, I have some problems with the directing, but it's generally like quite well directed. Yeah.
Oh, and the score? The score just, like, takes you back. Because we were around back then. Aiden, it's your turn.
It is my pick. I guess I'm going drama, too. Because my horror is safe. Yeah, I guess I have to go drama. Because horror is safe and the wild card is wild card. So, for drama, I guess I'm going off my list. This is a drama. It's more thriller, but... This is a drama. It's more thriller. I am going to go How to Blow Up a Pipeline.
Yes!
That's what I have as my number 6 of the year.
I'm scared. Okay.
Because I don't know. What are you guys gonna pick? I don't know. What is the other drama movie that I'm forgetting?
There's another one that I'm a little worried about could go. I keep making a pick and I'm like, no wait, it's the other category I should have saved that for.
No, Alex, I think you're safe. I think
safe?
what I'm gonna pick is not even on your list.
Okay. Okay, I'm safe.
Yeah.
Anyways, talk about your movie.
Yeah, this is a great movie. I mean, like, this is like a very like this is another movie that is its simplicity is its strength, in that like it is just like it's trying to be instructive but also very touching at the same time, and I think it's very successful. Beautiful, like beautifully shot, incredible. I think it was shot on a 16mm film, or yeah, I think so.
It looks like it's film.
It is. I know it's film, but I think it's 16mm in particular, and I think it's just like it's. Yeah, like I think this is just like it's very thrilling. Like it's very great performances again, good characters. Like it explores its ideas well, and it's just like very blunt in like the super desperate feeling that it's coming from. It's coming from such a place of like desperation. Like there's a giant boulder that we need to move, and it feels like no one's pushing. Like and yeah, like it's just like, and that anxiety is so woven into the movie. It's such a like it's a movie that makes you clench, and like a very tight thriller structure really augments that as well. This is a great movie.
Yeah, this was one of the few movies this year that like really made me actively anxious. Yeah. And I was like, oh no. And yet it is very straightforward and you know, kind of spoilers, but like things turn out more or less all right. Yeah. Maybe it's too easy, maybe a little bit too easy.
Sure.
But I mean, it's also nice like they were trying to do. I think the other movie is Night Moves. That's the Jesse Eisenberg movie where it's also eco-terrorism, but that one I've heard it goes poorly, and so they wanted to have a movie where things go well to show like there is hope.
You
and
can
so it's
can
possible.
do something. Yeah,
Change
and the movie goes out of its way to show you like this is something you could do, like that's like a
yeah.
That is a point of the movie, yeah.
And it's also very cool to be like, here are all these people from disparate backgrounds.
Yeah.
And they all have this, like, while their reasons are different, the cause is the same. Because everyone is affected equally. Yeah. Peter, you saw this movie as well. Did you like it?
I have not, actually.
You've not? Were you not there for that?
No.
Oh.
No.
It was one of those episodes where the logo was just Aiden and myself.
Wow. I didn't know that.
You're right. Okay, well, I think Peter, though, it is your turn. So
it's my double.
What is a movie you have seen?
Okay, I think the rest of my picks are pretty safe, so I'm just gonna take it chill. I'll round out the drama. I think you guys both pick drama, right? So I'll round out the drama category. I think it's pretty expected. I'm gonna do Past Lives. It's my second favorite movie of the year. I just have a thing for human stories, and I think this story, it's so simple yet so human. It is a beautifully crafted story of really just the whole concept of wrong place, wrong time. Like right people, I think, but wrong place, wrong time. And they were able to wrap it up and tie it up in such a nice way and say, perhaps this is just one of our past lives, and we will be together in one of our future lives just because of circumstances of things not working out. And dude, even just saying this is giving me goosebumps. But it's such like the characters themselves so simple, so human, yet so realistic. And I think that's why I appreciate this movie so much. It's just like I can totally see this happening in real life, and this probably happens like every day in one form or another to some people. I love it. It's my favorite drama movie of the year.
Yeah, I actually think this movie is very nuanced as well. I don't think this one is actually like a super simple movie as well. I love I think it's a great movie. This probably would have been my wild card pick. Probably. But
so it's good I took it away.
I have other ones, but I mean, I love how this movie talks about identity and how it dissects that and how it treats identity as something that is not fixed. It's malleable. It can be split in two. It can be changed over time, but you can take parts from this and and different people bring out different things. Different places bring out different things. How like who you are as a person is not something that's set in stone. Like that's
Absolutely,
it's I think this is a really beautiful movie.
Oh yeah, I saw it too.
You did
sorry,
see
I was
it.
looking at the list. A bug flew in my eye when I was
Oh.
going to see it, and it made me like it less.
Dude, that was one of your best reviews.
That is
by
true.
The way.
I know,
Like
yeah.
really liked that letterbox review.
Yeah, because me and the bug have inyan,
Right.
clearly. But
Yeah.
this was a movie that I saw, and I think it's one of those movies that maybe I should rewatch without the bug experience, and
Sure.
maybe I would like it more. I don't know. I had some issues, I guess. The end is kind of sweet.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll try and keep it positive. So
Yeah.
Sure.
I like the ideas. Like you said, like it's fate, destiny, wrong.
Dude, look at him.
Wrong
He's trying to
people,
salvage
right
it.
time, whatever. I don't know. I'm not trying to salvage anything. Feel like I'm losing track of where
I have
we
one
are.
more pick. I have one more pick.
You have one. I know that, but I
Yeah.
feel like I'm missing something on the document. But you could do your pick, and Aiden can look at it and verify if I've missed anything.
Okay. I think the rest of my picks are very safe. So I'm gonna go with my blockbuster pick,
Yeah. Okay.
and I think for me, dude, I'm literally just going down my list at this point, and let me just say, it's been a year for Dungeons and Dragons, guys.
Oh,
It's,
really?
That's your
they're,
pick. Interesting.
Really?
Wait,
The,
is that even?
Is
Did
that a
that make it
blockbuster?
on the blockbuster list?
It's
Hold on.
it's 94 million. Please count it. Come on.
Oh right. We were because the issue is it's gross. and total
International,
gross.
it is over, but like domestically is 94.
Oh, I was saying it had to be domestically over.
Dude, please, man, because like I have nothing
Hey,
else to say.
I said the rules. I
It
did
doesn't
say
fit the one
rules.
criterion.
I had given you the
Fuck yeah.
criterion channel.
Fuck
Right.
Do
yeah.
you have another one that does pass the rules I had set clearly?
'Kay,
before?
but, like,
last time,
none of
last year
them-
it was my fault, but I was clear.
None
this
of them I
time.
like it that much though.
There's
that's the
movies
problem.
on there. Come on, okay. Well, let's go through it. There's
My
Barbie,
next one, Barbie would have
There's
been my other pick.
Guardians 3. There is The Little Mermaid. John Wick 4 is a movie
I did
on
not
there.
like John Wick
Mission
4 that much.
Impossible.
You didn't
actually.
like John Wick 4?
Yeah, I
I
told
would've
you,
picked
I
John
like
Wick
John Wick
Yeah, I would've
2 a lot more.
John Wick 4
There you
might
go.
have been my third option, I think.
What
Mission
about Mission Impossible?
Did not like it.
Oh, I forgot you
Wow.
didn't like that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonka.
Dude, I've just been a blockbuster hater this year.
Blockbuster hater. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Choose
I
your-
mean, like, okay, if I don't like, can I pick it or not? Yes or no? If I can't, I'll switch.
I prefer you talk about a movie you like, so I don't care. Just choose your
Okay.
Dungeons and Dragons.
So,
Breaker.
Origins.
well, it's been I don't know if you guys know, but like in the video game sphere, there's this little game called Baldur's Gate 3, and it's been blowing up.
I did know that.
And that is D&D as well. So I just thought like it's a perfect way to say like, you know, my favorite blockbuster of the year is also Dungeons and Dragons. But it's just like it's funny, and like the directors, they've always done this really like smart comedy where it's
Freaks
like
and geeks.
the comedy itself is only part of the movie, it's not all of the movie. The visual style of the movie, so many creative scenes, so many creative ways to sort of leverage the fantasy setting, and genuinely it's just so much fun. I know like we all have like critiques about the actual plot and actual story and how some characters are portrayed, but you cannot deny that this is a fun movie and it's a hell of a good time watching it. So, and I think that's just the criteria of blockbuster, where it's a crowd pleaser and you just have fun coming out of the theater. So that's my pick.
Yeah, I agree. This movie was super fun. I think like while I have some writing and directorial problems, I think like yeah, this is a really fun movie. Like there's some really fun set pieces. Like I'm remembering the thing with like the portal and like the caravan that's going down the road. Like that's a really fun sequence.
Yeah, the mirror scene where
Yeah.
yeah.
This is a good one.
Yeah, this was a movie that I thought I wanted to not like it. Like I saw the trailers and I was like, oh, this is one of those dumb, like it's a action comedy, but it's like it's fine. And it was actually, I do remember actually being like sort of like reluctantly won over. So that's
Sure.
just like a testament to like the power of like it's actually pretty good. It's I think it's the game night guys. Like
Yeah,
I
it
think
is.
a lot of it is them bringing their kind of style to it. Yeah, there's like I said, begrudgingly I had a decent time watching that movie.
Sure.
Is that all for Dungeons from you?
Yep.
All right, back to Aiden.
Moving on.
Yeah. So I guess horror. I'm picking Skinamarink, which you
Yeah, we
guys
knew
have not
Ooh, I
seen.
thought
So
would be a wild card. Interesting.
no, because I mean I might as well put it here. This was so just to go over the reason I thought that I should have put Poor Things in comedy, which would have let me put this in international.
Where's
because
it from?
it's Canadian.
It's Canadian. Interesting.
And that's
I don't know
that's
that.
why I said there was a sneaky. It was a sneaky one where I
Well, I knew
forgot
that's
it
what
was
you would do.
Canadian. And so like yeah, so it is a Canadian film made for like $15K in Alberta, filmed in the director's like childhood home. It's
That's
like
crazy.
just yeah, it's just like insane film. Yeah, and then that would have freed up horror or whatever. But I actually like the way this turned out. Yeah, so this is a very slow and experimental movie, and I went in knowing that, and I think that helped me love it a lot. This is an interesting movie that I've heard some people say like, oh, it's an example of the no plot, just vibes sort of thing, which I think I've said before, I don't believe in such a thing. But like this movie is clearly not that. Like it actually has a very like, despite being very abstract, it actually has a pretty clear 3-act horror structure. It's just like not many events happen. It's just like the way it dissects like what fear is like at its core. Like it's just the recontextualization of a childhood home into something that is just a prison and is unfamiliar but is familiar at the same time, and how that's so like for those like it's basically the plot of the movie is it's two kids, they talk to their dad at the beginning, their dad leaves, and then as the dad leaves the windows disappear, the door disappears, and the kids are trapped in the room, and the kids are trapped in the house, and there's this like entity there's like a ghost or something, it's never explained, but there's something else in the house with them. And just like really getting to a core of like when you're a kid, like the scariest thing is to go into another room in your house with the lights off, like, and just like I feel like that was just like the impetus for the whole thing. And like yeah, this movie was like very affecting for me and very scary, and just like yeah, like I'm very excited to see more from this director. And I know you guys didn't see it, but yeah, I can't recommend this movie enough. Really great movie.
Cool. Yeah. No, I've been meaning to watch this one. That's one of those movies that's like it sounds like it's an Aiden movie because it's a not many other people movie. I've seen a lot of people like kind of negative on it. So, but I'm definitely willing to check that one out eventually.
I will say I don't think either of you will like it as much as I do. I think like that's almost certainly true, but like
fantastic.
I think you both might get something out of it though.
Sure. Well, this is the end of the road for me. I've got my last two before we go around the bend again for you guys. It seems my last picks are safe. So first off, I'm choosing in horror thriller, The Killer.
The Killer?
This is David Fincher's latest movie.
You mean the Chiller?
I said horror thriller. I said horror thriller. So
I
this
guess
is
it's a thriller. I guess.
Well, okay. Well, Peter got to choose his kind of fake one. So, so also I'm going by Letterboxd rules. Letterboxd says it's a thriller. So this is David Fincher's latest. I really like David Fincher. It makes it's my film broiest opinion, I think, maybe.
That doesn't mean anything. Like
it doesn't mean anything. No, it doesn't. But I just his kind of like, I don't know if milieu is the right word, but like I just love like his vibes, the vibes he emanates. And I can see how this is not maybe the best of his work, but I do feel like it's kind of like an encapsulation of who he is as a filmmaker. As like he would say, he's not an auteur. He is more of a hired gun. Like he doesn't write his own scripts. He kind of just performs the duty of director and director only. But in a way, like he is an auteur, and everyone recognizes him as an auteur, even though he doesn't want to label himself as that. Yeah,
I mean, like an auteur doesn't have to write. You know, it's just like a distinct vision. Like you watch it, and it's like that's Fincher, and that's true. Like that's true about Fincher.
Yeah, and so for this movie specifically, I just love this. I saw it twice, once in theaters, once on Netflix. This was maybe a reflection on like Mank and getting too personal, or maybe it's looking at like consumer culture and the gig economy, how everyone's doing gig jobs. I know some of us on this podcast do gigs, so it's kind of hits close to home. There's also just like, at its heart, it's a human story. It's Peter's favorite. It's a human story about a human who doesn't want to admit he's human. And that's like, I just found that part of it the most interesting to me. Like, sure, there's all these heady concepts, but at its core is this person who's so detached and thinks he's above everyone else, slowly realizing that he isn't, and that he is human, and it's the worst possible news. And like, I'm not sure that I think it's perfect, as I'm sure you guys don't either, but I just like really enjoyed it. I like how slow it is and how it both kind of pays homage to the genre and then completely defies it with, you know, anticlimactic endings, and you know, how the soundtrack cuts in and out. I just thought it was really interesting. I did vibe with this movie. This is one of my top 5, I think.
Like what you said about like, because I think you're referring to like the one the few one the many thing, right? Like,
well, it's a whole thing, but yes.
Yeah, and I think that's actually really interesting. Like, I didn't really think of it that much at the time right after viewing it, but like afterwards, I thought about it, and I thought it's a very interesting shift where he wanted to be one of the few because he's able to, like, you know, stealthily influence really powerful people in like the way of murder people, right? But then he realized that like what he wants in life, even though he's very good at doing that, he actually, you know, like what he wants is like, because like even though he seems like very detached, very not human, he still very much cares for his wife. And like the whole point of him doing what he did at the end is, one, for his own survival, the other one's like to stop people from going after his family. And like I think that's like when he realized that it's actually not bad. It's actually like a good thing to be one of the many, where your life is safe. You're not like hunted. You're not doing like crazy gigs. And like that transition is quite cool, actually. I didn't really think that much of it at the time, but this is pretty interesting.
Yeah, I like this movie. I like this movie quite a bit as well. It wasn't one of my favorites of the year, but I mean, I can't deny the direction. It's a tight script. Again, I feel like I've said that like 3 times, but it is a very tight script. Yeah, I like this movie. I don't have that. This is another movie that I don't have that much to say about it, is the thing.
Fair.
For me, and that's probably my biggest criticism of it, I guess. It's just that it wasn't one that just, whatever that intangible thing is, it just didn't stick with me in the same way other movies did.
I don't think it's dense. I'll say, or it's not as dense as some of the other movies. Like, I think May, December I described as being quite dense, and I think this one, the truth is maybe a little more on its sleeve.
Well,
maybe.
I think that's true about
in between.
I think that's kind of true about Skinamarink. I don't think Skinamarink is like a dense movie. I actually think it's super simple. It's just, I don't know. Some things stick and some things don't. I don't know.
Yeah, there's some movies I would say that are, there's thinking movies and then there's feeling movies. And this was a nice segue into my wild card. So everyone has their wild card left.
Yes.
To be clear, we don't have to end with wild card. But it just so happened that's how we did it.
Well, it makes sense. I don't know why you'd.
Well,
unless you really want to snipe something, I guess.
If you want to snipe something, if you want to be strategic.
Dude, imagine someone's wild card is just like, yeah, my wild card's Oppenheimer. It's not over.
That would be a weird choice, but it's like, it's a good like middle of the game one where it's like, let's say you have a lot of comedies you want to choose, and you're worried someone's gonna take your comedy, so you can take it off the board in a double whammy, like 2 comedies in a row, and then you've got what you want, and other people are screwed. But I'm not that quite aggressive. So for this one, I had to think about it, and I'm actually going to choose a movie that I've seen more recently, and maybe that's part of the reason why I'm choosing it. Is it's just fresher in my head, and I can't like stop thinking about it. And I don't think either of you would guess. I'm going to choose The Iron Claw. So this is the A24 wrestling movie starring Zac Efron with his new jaw, and also Aiden, also known as Harris Dickinson.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot you guys said that. Yeah.
And Jeremy Allen White, and the guy from Mindhunter. I don't remember his name. But anyways, like, so great cast. Oh, and also the girl who I keep saying is Shailene Woodley, but it is not. Lily Allen. Lily James. Yes. Lily Allen's a singer. That's a singer.
Oh my god.
It's Lily James. So good cast. This is made by this guy's so interesting. I've watched one of the director. I don't remember his name. I'll look it up though. So this director is technically Canadian, but also like technically American. But he grew up.
Oh,
in
yeah, you were
Britain.
just telling me this. Yeah.
Yeah, his name is Sean Durkin. So he was born in Canada, but then lived in Britain like his whole adolescence, and now lives in the U.S. But he also did a movie called The Nest, which I have seen actually, and I remember liking that. It was a pandemic movie. I digress. This is a feeling movie. This is a movie that is not particularly deep. It is looking at like toxic masculinity and how that is passed down like from like an oppressive or a father with like high standards, and how that causes only ruin in his family. But it's all just like it's hanging off of Zac Efron's performance, which is it's great. He's great as Kevin, I think Kevin Von Erich, and it's looking at the tragedy of this famous wrestling family, the Von Erichs. It's a true story, and all I can say is if you don't know anything, don't learn anything before you go in, because I truly did not know anything other than there was a curse, and that probably there was going to be some unfortunate incidents. I didn't know the scope, I guess. It is like a little bit like maybe heartbreaking. Like I was tearing up at the end. I'll say that. And it's just like there's just so much tragedy in this person's life, and it's also like wildly entertaining. Like there's a great moment where Rush, I think Tom Sawyer, the Rush song starts playing for like a wrestling match. Awesome. That's just amazing. Great movie making. Yeah, I would say this is like a really great movie that is also just like anyone could watch this and have a great time. And I think it's really nice when we get movies that are like that a wide audience could enjoy, that are also just like of great quality. There's a couple scenes that are just like just so well written. There's one scene that I don't like want to spoil it, but like it's involving a dress, I'll say, and a unique problem the mom is having with this dress, that most mothers would not hopefully ever have to have this problem. I'll say no more, but like that is just like, wow, what an incredible, like someone came up with this scene to evoke the feelings that are just so unique to this circumstance. Vague, but really good.
Cool.
So yeah, I recommend this, but I'll stop talking about it. Anyways, no one else has seen this. So
No.
Aiden, what is your wild card?
This is hard. I don't know. So, okay, I'll just say, if I'm going just by my list, my next one is Knock at the Cabin. My highest movie that hasn't been picked yet is M. Night Shyamalan's Knock at the Cabin, which I did love a lot. I liked that movie quite a bit. Do I want to pick it? The next one after that is Priscilla. The next one after that is Killers of the Flower Moon. And then there's Haunting in Venice. And Lord Forgive Me, like, I'm leaning towards Haunting in Venice. Right?
Dude, that's such a you thing. Do it. Yeah.
I think I have to. That is my
It's
pick.
wild.
Because, like, I just had so much fun watching it. Like, I just can't even... Like, I had to restrain myself. There are multiple times where just the camera work of the film, like, made me grab the handles and go, like, whoa! like,
that is watching in 5D, bro.
Oh my god, it was so, like when it's fixed on his face and he's, like, spinning around the room, I was like, hold on, we're going for a ride, guys. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, this movie was, I gave this 4.5 stars. This is like just an incredible theater experience. I have not seen the other Branagh, Hercule Poirot, whatever. I haven't seen those, but like this is just so sick. Like, it's just so much fun. Like, I really have nothing else to say about it than like this is just pure fun. Just everything I want out of a movie. Just distilled into just a fun time movie. Like, yeah, great time.
Had no reason being as good as it is.
Yeah,
It is way better than it should be.
Yeah.
Just especially based off the former two.
Yeah.
But I mean, also like that's what you get when you're like director Kenneth Branagh. Like you're gonna have some like really high highs.
Yeah.
And just like out of nowhere. that's a fun movie. I just wish more movies and more like filmmakers, when they're doing like a job kind of movie, like a hired gun almost movie, that they would care as much as I think Kenneth Branagh did.
Kenneth Branagh is not like, these are his passion projects. He is
Dude,
like
he's starring in
he
it.
is like getting these made. Like they're not. Yeah.
And also just like completely shifting genre is a really baller move.
It's
like
so awesome.
just like this one's gonna be horror. I just remember seeing this trailer and being like, oh, this is gonna be good. Like I was like, whenever it came out, I was like, oh, I'm looking forward to this. And it pretty much didn't disappoint. Hercule Poirot is just a hilarious character too. Great movie. Peter, I don't think you saw this one.
What do you mean? I was on the pod for this.
You're on the pod for this one?
I was on the pod for
I
this.
keep forgetting.
I was
What did you
like,
think
I
about
was
this
supporting Aiden. I was like, yeah, I like this one a lot as well.
Yeah. Nice.
That's
It
it?
was a good time.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Really fun.
What's your wild card then?
Okay, I'm like very, very conflicted. So like,
This is a go with your heart pick. That's
by the
what
way,
Aiden and I did.
none of us has picked Barbie, which I find very surprising.
I know.
Barbie would have been my second blockbuster, to be clear, if I didn't get Oppenheimer.
So like, based on my list, it should be Barbie, but I'm actually leaning towards Humanist Vampire.
Okay.
Which is a very unique pick.
It's a fun
but
choice.
I know
I
you
like
guys
it.
know about, and like that is way down the list, by the way. Like everything up till number 11's picked for me, and Humanist Vampire is 17. It's like
This
right
is what I'm
bang
saying.
on middle.
Wild card should be wild.
Yeah.
If you're not doing a weird pick, get out of here.
Yeah.
Sign off.
Dude, hey, if you really want me to be wild, I can pick Ghosted.
No,
Or
this is
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
this is wild enough. Tell us about Humanist Vampire. This is a rare case, a movie that you have seen that neither of us have seen.
Yeah, so I was just like, I was instantly intrigued from watching the trailer because I thought like
looked
it's a very interesting concept, you know, having like a vampire who refuses to like bite people, and like that's like her entire problem, and this whole movie is like explaining the problem, her journey trying to fix it, and eventually coming to some sort of conclusion. Like I think there are a lot of things that I really love about this movie. First of all, like vampire is such a wild, like you can use vampire on a very wide spectrum. Like, you know, it can be like very like emo vampire, or it can be like very modern vampire. And I think this movie has found a very interesting niche middle ground where vampire has this like very unique society around them set up. But like what I really love about this movie is like it's a small Canadian film, and like the budget is obviously not huge, but like the vibe of this movie is just so immaculate. Like this movie is filmed on some sort of filter, and like the scene composition and also the cinematography of it reminds me of a Wes Anderson film without the Wes Anderson style, if you guys know what I mean. Like it's like very mellow, very like some
Like,
sort of there's some
It's
sort
like
of mellow.
tonally kind of like Wes Anderson.
Sort of, yeah. Like it's like very melancholy. Like even the humor is all like dry humor. Like I don't think Wes Anderson is all dry humor, by the way. Like I said in my review, I don't think like there's a ton of substance within the film. Like I don't think like this is the movie that you're gonna go away like with a lot of things on your mind that you can think about. But it is like one of these movies where it's just like it's neat, it's cute, and it's one of these comfy movies. And I gotta say, after watching this movie, I was like, yo, like I think like you just level up when you become a vampire. Like your drip and your vibes just like just get upgraded when you become a vampire. It's a very fun film, and I hope like there's more movies like these where it's just like very interesting, unique takes on existing like pretty cliche genres and characters, or like in this case I guess vampires. So I honestly like it. Really, like the reason I like it is very similar to Spider-Verse. It's just like an interesting, unique take on something that's been done so many times before.
Nice.
That'll be my wild card. It's pretty wild, man. Like I gotta say, it's probably the wildest wild card I've ever done.
Like I said, I'm glad all of us went with, because also Iron Claw for me is not the next highest on my list.
Right.
I did skip like one or two. I don't remember. yeah, I think it's more interesting to choose one that's just like it's a go with your gut pick. Like it's one that you're like, this is just one that maybe like was better than I expected, or just like a unique gem. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, but that's our draft. So let's I'll do the little recap.
Hell yeah.
So I'll start with myself. In comedy, I chose Theater Camp. In Blockbuster, I chose Spider-Verse, or Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It's its full legal name. International film, I chose Anatomy of a Fall. Its full legal name is Anatomie d'une chute.
Right.
Drama film I chose
Look at him go.
was The Holdovers. In horror thriller, I chose The Killer. And in wildcard, I chose Iron Claw. Aiden, do you want to go over your draft picks?
Sure. Comedy, I had May December. In blockbuster, I had Oppenheimer. In international, I had Poor Things. Drama, I had How to Blow Up a Pipeline. For horror thriller, I had Skinamarink. And for wildcard, I had A Haunting in Venice.
Nice. And Peter, you do not have the doc open in front of you, so I hope you know what your list is.
Okay.
From memory, here we
Wait,
go.
are we all gonna go? Like, is there an order? Did Aiden and you both do it in order?
Well,
We
we're
did in
going
the
in
same order because we're reading the thing.
I wrote it
but,
down.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
Just
Comedy.
guess.
What's your comedy?
Okay,
Test.
comedy. It is. Fuck.
Wow.
Yo, I totally remember what my comic. Wait, Astro City. Yeah. We did. I did comedy
Astro
first.
City.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
comedy Astro City, international Godzilla -1.
Yeah.
Drama is Past Lives, and horror / thriller is Scream 6, also known as Screamy.
Or
and,
Six Scream.
It's Screevy.
Or 6 Scream. What is going on? Why are there balloons?
It's balloon times. Is it peace? Do the peace sign. Now
I
you
think
got
it's just
confetti.
I think it's
What
just
the
you,
hell?
bro.
That's so insane.
And for Blockbuster, it was Dungeons and Dragons, and my wild card was Humanist Vampire. I'm missing
Yes.
one. Am I missing one?
No, I don't
that's
think
it.
so.
No, yeah.
Okay.
I
I'm
think there's a
actually
ghost.
pretty
There's a
happy with
ghost
the
in my
list.
computer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the draft went well. So we did this last year,
I'm
but
very
we
happy with
don't
my list.
we don't really have any social media presence, but we do. So if you think somebody did the draft better than somebody else, you can go vote. Say
Yeah, go
who
for
you
it.
think won.
Dude, I remember
Peter
picking
won last
Banshees
year.
last year and just secured someone's vote. That's all I'm gonna say.
I think it was Ryan, right? Because Ryan loved that movie.
Probably Ryan.
Friend of the show.
I don't
Friend of the
remember.
show.
Anyways, now that we're done with this, we should go through some honorable and maybe some dishonorable mentions. Just basically movies that were not picked this year, that maybe we that were close, I guess.
Yeah.
So we can take turns. So I don't know. My next one that I didn't choose, at least how I ranked it currently, is John Wick 4 actually.
Oh, yeah.
That could have been a blockbuster. From what I remember, that was either my favorite or second favorite John Wick film. John Wick 2 is the one that it would be going up against. Right out the gate with the thunderous punches, just like it grabs you by the throat, does not let go the whole time. Some of the best sequences in the whole franchise, like the stairs,
Stairs is
the Arc de
awesome.
Triomphe, the flamethrower gun, like that's a crazy movie. Just really great stuff. That's a gold star there.
Yeah, that movie's sick. If
Aiden,
for
do you want-
an honorable mention, I'll say my next one was Knock at the Cabin, and this is like, I just love M. Night Shyamalan. Like the way he directs the camera is so. It has such a presence in all of his movies, but it's different. Like he employs different tactics in all of them, and I just remember like the use of close-ups and the use of camera movement to separate characters and start like I just distinctly remember that like as the movie goes on and the trust starts to break down between the characters in the house, like they aren't in the same shot as much and they're often like separated in a shot by like Dave Bautista, and like it's just like a really just thrilling fun movie just filled with like a kind of dread but also being like kind of heartfelt in the end and like being like really I like the radio moment a lot when like they turn on the radio and they turn it off and turn it on again. This is a movie. Yeah, I love M. Night Shyamalan, and I thought this was another banger. And he self-finances his movies. This being
Oh
one of them.
shit! there's no studio backing for his movies.
Well, I mean, like he gets you get a distribution company, and he has his own. I'd assume he has his own production company, as most directors at a certain level do.
That's
but
insane.
like, like
Yeah.
whatever. But like, yeah, that was a great one.
Also, like in that movie, just like an insane cast of like
Yeah,
niche but like really good picks.
yeah,
Like Dave Bautista, Jonathan Groff, Rupert Grint. Like
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
like
Yeah.
someone was like popping off, which is like really random but really good casting. Peter, do you have not a wild card, an honorable mention?
So technically, if we go off the list order, it would be Barbie. But I'm actually thinking of either.
Well, just anything,
Surprisingly.
because we can do a few honorable mentions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like surprisingly, I'm gonna do two, but they're quick. Surprisingly, it's the Hunger Games, the Ballad of Songbird and Snakes, and also the Eras Tour. Okay, so I'm just getting the Eras Tour over with. So Eras Tour is just like, I've never been like huge into concert films, but like somehow like watching Eras Tour in the theater, I'm not saying it's like exactly like a concert, but like it definitely brought out the hype, and like there's enough variation in its camera techniques and cinematography that made like it's a very long movie actually. Like it's
Yeah,
like
it is.
close to 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like
Jesus Christ.
like Alex had watched this one as well,
I did.
but like it's fun. It's like Taylor Swift obviously had a huge year, and it's just like a showcase of her talent, and also like the director did an amazing job, like just like capturing the whole experience. But the Hunger Games, like that really surprised me as well. Like I literally like wrote in my review that like I wasn't expecting it to be good. Like like I thought like like the base Hunger Game trilogy was just like okay. That was the era when like the teenage like fantasy movies were like taking
YA
off.
dystopia.
Yeah. And like this movie is like took a surprisingly grounded approach, because it's like one of the earlier Hunger Games, and like the power struggle within the movie is like very cliche, but like it's very well depicted. And God, man, like Rachel Zegler, like her talent is just showcased to the fullest in this entire movie. Like her range, and also like her vocal talent as a singer and a music person, just like you're just in awe watching the movie. And I thought like like if anything, if a movie can do something like that, it deserves a shout out. So it was great. And Viola Davis is also in this one, Peter Dinklage, and they both brought their flair in this movie as well. Not their like best, but definitely a good performance from them.
Nice.
Cool. Another one for me, Dream Scenario. This was a movie that scared me as soon as I saw, what's his name again?
Ari
I was
Cage?
afraid. Yeah, when I saw executive produced by Ari Aster, I went, oh no.
Oh.
But it does feel more like, well, actually, I wouldn't know because I haven't seen his other movie. But the actual director, who's Norwegian, let me find out.
I don't know.
But anyways, it's I had some issues with it, but just looking at the positives, Nick Cage puts in a great, like, very human performance as just like a regular guy. Director's name is Christopher Borgli.
Nice.
And just this like idea of like someone rising to fame, like for like just completely out of his power, and he's at first he loves it, and then things take a turn, and it's kind of a look at like fame and celebrity and like the goods and the bads. It's not the most complex look at that idea, and I honestly left it going like, what are you trying to say? Like I wasn't even sure, but it's funny. It's a really funny movie. There's a part near the end that had me like howling, like a complete surprise. It's not in the trailers, and it's a like the universe has this new idea of like someone has appeared in everyone's dreams, and then it's like what would happen after that, and it took it to a place that was finally like an escalation that surprised me, and it's very funny and honestly worth watching just to see that scene. It's a scene, I'll try to like say it vaguely. It's just like a lot of cameos in like one location, and that's as vague as I'll keep it. But anyways, that's a very interesting movie, that just a really cool idea, and I like movies with cool new ideas, so I'll say that one.
I'll just rattle off a few other shoutouts. I mean, Barbie, I liked a lot. I really enjoyed that movie. I thought it was very funny. I thought it was very heartfelt. I thought it was personal, but also able to be like quite universal. Like I think a lot of people did like just really enjoy this movie, and I think it's clear as to why. And I think it's really gorgeous too. I think it's like gorgeously filmed. Like the lighting in Barbie Land is like really beautiful. Every time I see a clip of it, I'm like, yeah. And then my other two that I want to knock out, Priscilla and Killers of the Flower Moon, also just movies that like I respect like the directorial style a lot. Yeah, I don't know. We talked about them at length on the pod. Both movies I liked a lot. Established directors, done well.
Yeah. Peter, do you have any more actually?
Can I start with the first dishonorable mention?
Okay, I'll go back to rattling then.
Yeah.
Infinity Pool, we had some issues with it, but I like that is a very interesting concept. Alexander Skarsgård, very cool Canadian movie. I would say go look at that one because that's just like, yeah, I like movies with cool ideas. That's a cool idea movie. Blackberry, another Canadian movie. Glenn Howerton's awesome. Jay Baruchel does some good stuff in it. The end is actually really sad and
the end is very sad. Yeah.
Affected me. It is
Wait,
kind of straightforward,
it did?
but filmed very well.
You were sad?
I didn't cry.
What?
I didn't cry at it, but like I was just like, it was like a damn,
Oh yeah,
and like and like your heart's kind of like, oof, and like because it's not because of like obviously BlackBerry failed and like it's dead. It's a completely dead company now, but it's
no, it's just
the
pivoted
human
its
element.
business. It pivoted its business.
It's sure, but like it's the human element that is just like wow, and then. I'll also say Maestro, but there's like an asterisk there.
Oh, you saw Maestro. Yeah.
Like Maestro is like very well directed, but kind of like a head empty movie.
I don't know if I think it is that well directed for most of the movie. There is towards
some
the end,
scenes. There's some very good scenes.
There are some visuals that I think are incredible, but like there's one scene where I was like, oh my god, I wish the whole movie was this because like it just comes together like. There's a scene with a Snoopy parade. Snoopy float in the background. That's a good scene.
It's the Thanksgiving Day parade. The Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade in New York.
But then the scene where he's conducting right after that, I was like, oh my god. This is like everything he is in one scene. Like in this, the whole movie makes sense, and the rest of the movie isn't that, I don't think.
Yeah. It's like, I have no idea what they're trying to say. I said this to someone else. It's almost Bohemian Rhapsody. Like, in like, here's a famous person who was closeted and when they're starting to like be themselves and have these romances with men, that's like the bad, like they're like the oh no, this is where they're in the downfall of the movie.
I don't think that's true. I don't think
also,
it's portraying
a little bit like less so than Bohemian Rhapsody.
Sure.
But there's another funny bit like at the end someone said like that's the opposite of Tar. Like it's a movie whose stance on certain things are the complete opposite of Tar. Very funny. So it is like it doesn't match up to Tar at all.
Yeah.
But I mean like I'm glad I watched it. There's some really like also just like the acting. It's just an actor's movie where actors get to act and the script isn't great and the directing is like a mixed bag.
Yeah.
No, it's an actor's movie. So that's it for my honorable mentions. Dishonourable. Peter,
okay. If you're doing Maestro, then I'm gonna do one too. I thought like we're capping it off at like good movies only.
There's so many. There's so many. I just had to mention that are
I gotta give a shout out to the creator. So we obviously talk about the shortcomings of the creator.
That legitimately might be a dishonorable mention.
No, you don't. You don't have to give me
No, relax. Hear me out. Okay,
Dishonorable.
Hear me out. Relax. Now, it's very impressive. It's all filmed on a Sony camera. Okay.
Sony FX3.
Yeah, very impressive. And also, some of the visuals in the film, just from like a purely visual perspective, and me being a sci-fi enjoyer, really, really cool.
So
like, I think
average
like,
sci-fi enjoyer.
The design and also some of the scenes and the settings and just overall like shot composition and cinematography for some shots in the movie, just pure excellence, like pure science fiction excellence in my opinion. And like I really like things that sci-fi and also excite me, and I think this movie done it several times. during its
Yeah.
runtime. So
I do think this movie's shot super well, but I just think it's so dumb. Like I
it
just
is.
like
It is
so
like the. I
Like-
I agree. Like I think especially for the plot, like we obviously talk about its shortcomings at
Yeah.
length when
yeah, I don't
like,
want to open
during
the
our
can of
episode,
worms
so,
again,
yeah.
but it was just like, man, like it was a movie. It was a movie where very quickly I was like, oh no, like, yeah.
I think that you said Past Lives was one of my better Letterboxd reviews. I'm actually very proud of my creator one. I'll pull it up actually because I had fun writing this one. It's one of those movies. I'm not reading it yet. It's one of those movies that is pulling so many influences. And let me be clear. All filmmakers have influences for their movies. But this is a movie that is copy pasting from other movies and is
Yeah.
not doing a very good job of like mixing these ideas together. So my review is as follows. What if a movie was Rogue One and Blade Runner, and Avatar and Apocalypse Now, but like Westworld, and also The Mandalorian, and AI artificial intelligence, and also just like really stupid.
Dude, you're right though. It is like
It's,
Mandalorian.
it's just
in a
like
way.
all of these.
Oh my God.
It's all of these things, and it's so clear.
That's
It's so
crazy.
clear they're ripping it off. But
Yeah.
we probably all have some dishonorable mentions. Aiden, do you want to kick us off with one of them?
Yep, one of the most soulless films ever made. The Flash is my bottom movie of the year. I remember
It's bad.
saying that like it's surprisingly competent in our review of it, and I still agree with that. Like it's just more of a movie than I thought it would be, but it's just
Yeah.
knocked down on such a level of just being like horrifying, like truly horrifying that this was made. And I just like, I really hope like Andy Muschietti like sits down and like does like a retreat or something and reflects on what he's done and like the whole DC apparatus. Like I just pray this never happens again.
It's
This
dead,
is, like,
right?
This is in the
DCU 's
same.
dead, no?
It is dead now.
Yeah.
But it's in
DCU
the,
is fully done now. Yeah.
it is in the same categories like Rise of Skywalker for just like just disrespectful, offensive, horrible, horrible stuff.
Mostly because of
yeah.
mostly because of the necromancy, but like also other things. It's also just really bad.
Yeah.
And on top of the really poor taste
Yes.
cameos. Peter, do you have a dishonorable mention for us?
I do. My dishonorable mention. Okay, I fucking hate this movie. Is Ghosted. So let me just
Yeah,
let me just
that's
tell you
unique.
about
That's this
Ghosted. Okay.
Weren't you
Ghosted?
saying like, oh, that might be good when it came out?
Yeah, we're like, no.
Oh my god. Ghosted is the exact opposite to Spider-Verse. Spider-Verse is like, oh my god, look at the trailer. It's good. I'm looking at another trailer. It's good. I'm about to go to the theater. I'm so hyped. I watched the movie. The movie's amazing. And I come out of it. I feel great. Ghosted is like getting baited, you know? It's like, you know,
Getting
like
ghosted.
you watch the movie. You watch the trailer. You're like, oh, this is so funny. And then you realize it's Chris Evans and Ana de Armas. And also the supporting cast is quite good as well. They have Adrian Brody, you know? It's like, oh, I love him in Wes Anderson films, you know? And then you're like, okay, I watched some clips. It's so funny. And then negative reviews start coming out. No, it's surely because, you know, it's just a comedy film, you know, so like it's getting like mixed reviews. It's understandable. People are gonna love it. Watch the movie. How long was this movie? Let's see. Fuck, I don't have a runtime.
did
Can
not
someone get a
watch
runtime for me?
Only thing I've seen from this is the staircase scene where they
Yeah.
look like they're not in the same
Okay.
location.
Anyways, but the biggest waste of my time on a movie this year. It's so
Hour
not
56,
funny.
by the way.
Like it's so not funny, and also like it's so dry. And some people say like it's actually Ana de Armas and Chris Evans filming separately, and it's just like pasted the footage together. Like there's actually like you find it pretty shocking, but like two pretty charismatic people put together should be like very easy
Who
chemistry,
have been
right?
charismatic together in a movie before. Like they're good
You
at
know?
Knives Out together. Like
Right? Like, and it's just like zero chemistry. It sounds like Chris Evans is just like so, like they just both sound bored, you know, like being in the movie. And like me watching it is just like, please make it end. And I hate it, and I wish I'd never seen it.
This is one of those movies that, if I remember correctly, is like Peter goes to us and says, oh, you know, this looks really good. And we go, no. And you say, oh, I think I have to watch it. And we're like, please don't watch it. It's
No,
gonna be
okay,
awful."
wait.
And you're
I
like- you're
remember.
You're like, come on, guys. Like, it can't be that bad. Like,
I
have some faith.
I respect this a lot about Peter though, where it's like if something interests him, he fucking goes for it.
He will see it.
I love that.
Dude,
Despite
I watched
all
Amsterdam
advice.
last year. Just so
Yes,
you know.
that's the other one. We
Well,
continue
I
to say.
remember what I said about this movie though. I said this movie looks very good. It's probably shit. I'm probably gonna watch it and think it's shit, but I'm gonna watch it anyways. That's what I said. I think.
Yeah, this happens a lot.
You're
Yeah.
right.
I'm gonna move. Oh no, I have my dishonorable mention. We'll just do one.
Yeah.
My dishonorable mention, worst of the year, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
That's my second last.
Downfall of the MCU. It is just horrible. That is a
it is
horrible
horrible.
movie. Takes its core idea and like the idea of what that movie should have been is just like thrown out the window. Like I can't even remember what that movie is because it's nothing. There's nothing good about that
It is
movie.
a story that does not function at all. It's
At
not
all.
a story. Like it's
Yeah, and they beat. Like they're setting up their new Thanos, and they beat Thanos in the first movie. Like they beat they beat Kang.
yeah.
Which is probably good for just real life reasons.
Getting him the fuck out.
Just convenient. It turns out, just like a murky CGI sludge
Oh my
world
God.
that
Do you
looks.
know it was shot by Bill
hideous.
Pope? Do you know what Bill Pope also
Yeah,
shot? The
we did
Matrix.
this. He did
That's
like,
fucking
a
insane.
shit ton
That's
of movies.
Yo,
but that's so
crazy.
baffling that
Yeah.
not only a good cinematographer, but also a good cinematographer that's worked in VFX, like one of the most seminal VFX movies like ever.
Dude, he
Like-
also did Baby Driver. He did The World's End. He did Man in Black. He did lots of great
He's done a
movies.
lot of stuff.
Yeah.
That is just a horrible movie. Yeah, just really disappointing. How would you guys say 2023 stacks up against 2022?
Okay.
I think I handily like 2022 more. Like I think that's very easy for me to say that like
Yes.
there are multiple movies I think about After Sun, I think about Tar, I think about Bardo, I think about White Noise, like movies that like you wouldn't even think of as being like great that like affected me and stuck with me so much. Like there were just so many of them, and the thing about this year is that I feel like there's a huge quantity of like good movies. Like I was saying earlier, like I have to get to like 20 I have to get to like 30 on my letterbox list realistically when I stop liking the movies. Like the first 30 films I thought were quite good. Like but it's just none of them like really like hit for me in the same way as last year did.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I know Peter had some
Oh,
different
and
thoughts
Nope.
previously.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Nope.
Was it?
Yeah,
Nope.
just to name some other
Yeah,
ones.
Nope was
Decision
2022. Yeah.
Decision to leave.
leave.
Yeah. For me, Pearl, I know you guys don't, but like Pearl, fuck. Yeah.
And well, there's some that I have like After Yang. I don't think you guys ever saw.
Yeah,
Great
no, I
stuff.
did. That's number 10 on
You
my
did.
2022.
You saw that one?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a great movie.
Yeah.
And then there's
Fablemans,
some
which
other-
has only in my memory improved. Like that was,
Mhm.
yeah.
Barbarian. I keep wanting to go back and
Yeah.
see
X.
Barbarian because I was like,
X,
that's
yeah.
a crazy movie. Everything Everywhere All at Once, obviously one.
Babylon too. Like even the ones
Babylon,
that weren't
yeah.
super well regarded. Like I want to go
Yeah.
back to them so badly. And yeah.
Top Gun Maverick, the movie that saved movies. Like there's just so much there.
Yeah.
Peter, do you still hold the opinion that 2023
I
is better
think.
now that
Okay.
it's
I
over?
think 2023 was robbed. Okay. Here
It
we
was.
Are. Here we are.
It was. You're right.
If June Part 2,
Shit.
and also Challengers. I'm not sure if Challengers is actually.
Oh, that
gonna
was
be good.
Luca. Right. I
Yeah.
forgot, yeah.
I think it
but
was supposed to.
like I have confidence. I have full confidence that Doom Part 2 is gonna smash it out of the park. Like it's like Spider-Verse level where I believe in the director and also the story so much that I just know it's gonna be good. Like if those two movies stayed in 2023, I think hands down 2023 would be better. I'm just looking at the films that I've seen in 2022 versus 2023. I think it stacks up for sure. Like I don't think one is better than the other, because like we have like really great comedies such as like Banshees and like for me Triangle was like fantastic. But I think like in the action department, you have Top Gun versus like John Wick and stuff this year. And you have really
And
shitty comedies.
I like John Wick 4 more than Maverick, honestly. I do.
Really, I like Maverick a lot more than John Wick. But and also you have shitty comedies in 2022 in The Gray Man versus Ghosted this year.
Oh, The Gray Man, yeah.
Yeah, but like in my
I
opinion,
had
like
no idea what you were
overall
talking about
though,
for a second.
huh? It's a Ryan Gosling film.
Yeah, I forgot
Yeah.
it happened.
Like in my opinion though, 2023 is stronger, man. Like I think I just like the movies that came out this year a little more than last year's. They vibe with me a little more, and also like some of my favorite directors put out work this year, which is really exciting. You know, Nolan, Wes Anderson, and also Greta Gerwig, Yorgos, who's now one of my faves.
Jorgensen City.
And also like there are some great debuts this year. Like Greta Lee in like a proper drama role, really cool.
And I think Celine Song, the director of that. I think
Exactly, that's her debut as well.
Yeah.
And Theater Camp, obviously. So like honestly, for me, 2023, I like it a little more.
Well, speaking of 2023, what would you, outside of the draft, what would you say are your top 5?
Just like
So you could-
overall, 2023.
Oh yeah, my top 5 were all drafted, so I don't know if we need to do this anymore.
Same,
wondering,
yeah.
there's
My
a-
top
yeah.
5
very
are all
similar.
drafted.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Well then, I don't know. We can. Do you want to do trends?
I don't really need to. My main thing is just a lot of movies about narrative. Like they're
Same,
just
same.
very
We sort
like
of touched on that already.
self-reflexive movies about storytelling itself. It seemed
Yeah.
to be a big trend here.
Storytelling and fate. I thought those
Yeah.
two were kind of intertwined, and so I rattled some off on a document. So we had Asteroid City, Spider-Verse, Poor Things, Anatomy of a Fall. I also would add the Iron Claw. There's
Sure.
a feeling of a curse, which I would say is a bad kind of fate.
I would say Barbie too. Barbie falls into that.
Barbie, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
forgot about Barbie. I'd say another trend, demythologizing the idea of like the great
Yeah,
man,
sure.
like the one person who did something great is what that means. So Oppenheimer, Blackberry, Maestro, Priscilla, and Napoleon were all examples I had of that.
I think Maestro is
I don't know if it
actually
does that
I think
exactly.
it's embracing that actually.
might be.
I think the movie like really believes like yeah no he was like a superhero. Like
do think
that's
that's
like
true,
the,
actually, yeah.
I think that's the whole movie.
Yeah. Okay, take that one off the
Yeah.
list, but it's the anti version of that, let's say.
Sure.
And I guess the only other one that's really fun is the year for World War II and nukes
Yes.
and what
which
that
is
might lead to,
right.
Godzilla.
Either Godzilla
or Oppenheimer.
or J. Robot Oppenheimer, which is my idea that I need to.
Wait,
I need to
who
get
is
credit
that?
for
I vaguely
J-
remember that.
My idea is that like I need to make a movie about like there's like a nuclear warfare in the modern day, and the only way to deal with it is to resurrect the head of the Manhattan Project, and we need to use like cybergenetic technology to do so.
It's like
That's
So
crazy.
he comes back and he's J. Robot Oppenheimer.
yeah,
And
That's a
that's
great
my,
name
That's
as
my
well.
idea. Yeah.
because isn't that what the R stands for? It's like what's his name?
It's Robert. It's J.
Oh, it's
Robert
Robert J.
Oppenheimer. So that's why
Yeah.
it works so well. It works too well
Yeah.
to not do.
Sure. Okay. Anyways, looking forward to this year. There's some
I don't know
movies
what's
that-
coming out. I know Dune.
I pulled up a list. So Dune Part 2 is the most obvious one.
Yeah.
But there's some movies also that were supposed to come out this year that didn't.
Challengers too. Right.
So
Yeah.
we're challengers, but I also mean just like wide release versus small release. So we never saw American Fiction or Zone of Interest. We're still waiting on those ones. But real movies for next year: Dune, Nosferatu, the Robert Eggers
Yes,
Yeah.
the
movie.
Yep.
Mickey 17. The
Right,
new- I
right,
think it's
Bong Joon-ho,
Bong
yeah,
Joon-ho.
Yeah.
Maxine, the
Yeah.
threequel.
Yeah.
The Taste of Things. That's a movie that was in some of the festivals. It's a French movie. I've heard very good things. Joker, Folie à Deux.
It's gonna suck.
You're looking forward to it, right?
No,
Furiosa.
Man, fuck.
Furiosa, Mad Max, the
Oh
prequel.
yeah.
Oh, I keep forgetting this is a movie. Hitman, the Richard Linklater movie starring Glenn Powell. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh, is
I know which one you're talking
Gladiator
about.
2? Gladiator 2 is
Prob-
coming out too.
Is
Am
it?
I wrong? Am I wrong?
Yes, it's on the list. You're right. We never saw the Bike Riders. That was we saw the trailers for it.
I think you mean
The Fall Guy by Ryan
Fall
Gosling's coming
Guy,
out, right?
Civil War, Alex Garland's
Oh,
Oh
Civil
yeah,
War.
that one's.
Megalopolis is supposed to come out apparently.
Oh right, yeah, Francis Ford. Yeah.
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Oh yeah. Monkey Time.
Craven.
Oh,
Craven.
which I'm legitimately still excited for.
Stacked year.
Did
There's
Madam
some good
Web come
ones.
out this year, or is it
And
coming?
No, it's
Madam
coming out
Web
next
is
year.
the
Right.
number one
Yeah.
anticipated movie
Yeah.
for next year. I
What do you
legitimately will
want
be
from
seeing
me?
that. We're
What?
potting. We're potting
Yeah,
Madam
yeah,
Web.
yeah.
I promise you.
Oh,
It'll happen.
Deadpool 3 is scheduled to be out next year
It is.
as well. Or this
We'll
year.
see if that's true, but yes,
Yeah.
it is supposed to. Anyways, I think that's
done.
kind of it. We kind of got to wrap up. So if you like our stuff, check us out on Instagram and Twitter at Predator V Movies. If you like my thoughts on movies and things, check me out on Letterboxd at _AlexGordon_. I leave reviews sometimes.
I also leave reviews sometimes on Letterboxd. I'm 810sunny. It's 810SONNY. My name is Wombo. Peter.
Oh right, Peter.
Peter, do you have anything to plug?
Yeah, I'd like to plug this amazing Instagram account I started following recently called Solid Fuel Productions.
Yeah,
That's
do
right.
that.
They're pretty great guys, you know.
Pretty great
I don't know
guys.
about you, but like I think they're pretty good.
I do think they're
We're
pretty
pretty good,
Yeah.
and you'll never know what we do.
You'll
If
never
you
know.
if you like this podcast, actually, it doesn't matter if you like it or not. You have to pretend you like it. Guess what
Yes.
time it is? You have to leave a review.
They actually contractually don't, unfortunately, because Peter did plug something, and that is the contract.
Peter.
But do it anyway. Do it anyway.
Okay,
Do
we're
it
starting
anyways. Do it for
bad
the vibes.
note. My New Year's resolution is that you will leave a review, and you better. So I'm just saying, and it has to be positive.
Yes.
And if it's really nice, we might read it. And I
probably
think
will.
you would like it if we read it.
You would
And
like
also we also like stars that are
And
5,
wars.
and thumbs that are up,
Yes.
and
And-
Rex that are good.
Yes.
I can't think of another thing.
Yeah. That's
Do any
Predator
of them.
versus movies.
All of them. But this is it. We will hopefully be back next week. I don't know. We haven't even talked about that.
Yeah, we'll see.
But maybe we'll be back next week. And see. Until then, that's what I say.
Right.
I'm Alex.
I'm Peter.
I'm Aiden.
And this was Predator versus Movies. See you next week, maybe. Beep, beep, beep.